Be seated.
Good morning, jurors. Good morning. See you all again. We saw each other yesterday afternoon. Has any member of the jury discussed the substance of this case with anyone, including among yourselves? No. Any member of the jury seen, read, heard, or overheard anything from any outside source about any aspect? No. The prosecutors may call their next witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. Daniel Anderson.
Right this way.
Walk right up to my car.
Just gonna ask you to stand behind the blue line and face the clerk.
Sir, if you'd raise your right hand for me, please. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in the cause now in hearing shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
I do.
Thank you. You may be seated.
Thank you.
Come around. Make yourself comfortable in that chair.
Sure.
Good morning, sir. In a nice loud voice, could you introduce yourself to the jury and spell your last name?
Sure. Good morning, everyone. My name is Daniel Anderson, D-A-N-I-E-L, Anderson, A-N-D-E-R-S-O-N.
And sir, where do you work?
I am currently employed as a forensic toxicologist with NMS, Nancy Mary Sam Laboratories.
All right. And sir, in order to become a forensic toxicologist, could you tell us a little bit about your educational experience?
Sure. So I have a bachelor's of science degree from Colorado State University in 1988 and a master's of science degree from the University of New Haven in Connecticut in 1990.
All right. After you completed your formal education, sir, where did you go to work?
So in 1990, I finished with my master's and I immediately went from Connecticut to Los Angeles. And I worked at the Los Angeles County Medical Examiner's Office for about 24 years.
Okay. And at the medical examiner's office in Los Angeles, sir, what were you responsible for doing there?
My primary duties was as a criminalist. Not only was I assigned to the crime scene unit at the medical examiner, where I would respond to death scenes and collect physical evidence from the bodies of the decedents, but I also was a forensic toxicologist there as well.
All right. Now, what is a forensic toxicologist, sir?
Forensic toxicologist is a scientist that basically analyzes biological fluids for drugs and poisons. Biological fluids can be blood, urine, any type of tissue taken from the body. And not only do we do the chemical analysis, but then we have to interpret what those results mean in context with the totality of the case and explain it to courts, attorneys, police officers.
In addition to testing biological samples, can you also test non-biological samples like liquids?
We can. Yes, we can.
So you said you spent, 26 years at the medical examiner's office in L.A.?
I spent 24 years there. I do have a 1-year stint at the Ventura County Sheriff's Department, making 25. And then I left Los Angeles County and went to Colorado, where I spent 6 years with the Colorado Bureau of Investigation, also as a forensic toxicologist.
Okay. After leaving the Colorado Bureau of Investigation, where'd you go?
Where I'm currently at now, NMS Labs. So I've been with them for 5 years now. So in all total, I've put in 35 years as a forensic toxicologist.
Okay. Now, without getting into too much detail about it, how is it that you guys actually test these biological samples or other liquids for substances that might be in them?
Well, typically we're using validated methodology, methods that have been validated for the task at hand before testing any type of evidential samples. So, we use instruments such as a GCMS or gas chromatograph mass spectrometer, or more sophisticated instruments such as time of flight or TOF. You know, you basically are sampling a portion of a biological material, such as the blood, performing a chemical extraction on it to isolate drugs or poisons of interest, you know, what you're looking for, and then putting them on an instrument, and the instrument provides data that we interpret and read.
Now, in connection with a particular investigation here in Massachusetts, were you asked to do some testing of substances in connection with that investigation?
Yes, we were.
Okay. And you were asked to test certain substances for ethylene glycol, correct?
Correct, very specifically.
Okay. What is ethylene glycol, sir?
Ethylene glycol is a chemical typically found in antifreeze. It's colorless, odorless, but it does have a taste. It does have a sweet taste to it. It's very poisonous if consumed. Hence why they tell you to don't spill it on the garage and let your dog lick it up. It can cause metabolic problems in your system. It will shut down your heart. It will shut down your kidneys.
And over the course of your career, 36-year career, have you had the occasion to test for ethylene glycol prior to this case?
Yes, I have.
How many times approximately have you tested for ethylene glycol?
Several hundred times. I mean, typically you're asked by the medical examiner to test for it if they're not finding a particular cause of death or if they have signs that are pointing to ethylene glycol poisoning or toxicity.
Okay. All right. Now, in terms of this particular investigation and case, sir, you were sort of asked to do the testing that you did in three sort of batches. Is that fair?
Well, actually 4 work orders or 4 submissions were provided to us.
Okay. All right. So let's start with the first submission. The first submission you received was blood that was sent to you by the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner here in Massachusetts, correct?
Correct, in November of 22, yes.
Okay. And you were asked to test that blood taken at Anna Jake's Hospital from an individual named Leroy Fowler for for ethylene glycol, correct?
Yes, we were.
All right. And did you run that test that you described for us a few minutes ago, the GCMS sort of testing to see if there was ethylene glycol in that blood sample that you were provided?
Yes, I mean, it was using 2 instruments, but yes, we did test for it.
Okay. And what were the results of testing that blood for ethylene glycol, sir?
The results were 52 milligrams per deciliter.
Now, in December of 2022, you were sent additional samples for testing, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and those samples included a liquid from a Powerade bottle, a liquid from a Rain-X de-icer bottle, and then a liquid that came to you it came to the lab here in Massachusetts in a specimen jar from a Fanta can, correct?
I mean, yes. I mean, that type of information was provided to us by the law enforcement agency. All the descriptors, yes. I mean, we receive it in a little container separate from what they receive it from, but
Fair.
A portion of.
All right. So now the sample that came from the Powerade bottle, was that tested for ethylene glycol?
It was, yes.
Okay. And what was the results of the testing of that liquid, sir?
2,400 milligrams per deciliter.
Okay. The liquid that was in the Rain-X de-icer, what were the results of that testing, sir?
I believe it was 11 milligrams per deciliter.
Okay. And then finally, the orange liquid that you were told, and I know you don't know exactly where it came from, but you were told it came from the Fanta can. What were the results of the testing on that liquid?
We did try testing that twice, and the end result was the test was canceled due to like an interfering substance in our analysis. and thus we didn't offer any results for that particular piece of evidence.
No reason to believe that the interfering substance was ethylene glycol.
Oh, no, looking at the raw data itself, it didn't appear to be any ethylene glycol, but we could not make any formal conclusions on a report without the interferences, thus it was canceled.
Okay. And then finally, you were provided with 2 samples of liquids, one that you were told was from an unopened bottle of Rain-X de-icer purchased by the Massachusetts State Police, and a second one that was a bottle of Antifreeze, also purchased by the Massachusetts State Police just for comparison purposes, correct?
Correct, I did.
All right. Now, with respect to the item that was identified as the Rain-X de-icer, what was the results of the sort of the comparison testing that you did on that for ethylene glycol?
I don't necessarily remember the specific numbers, but it was very low amounts of, I believe, ethylene glycol and propylene glycol.
All right. And if I suggested to you that the results were 7.6 milligrams per deciliter of ethylene glycol, would that refresh your memory as to the amount of ethylene glycol that was present in there?
It's a small amount, so yes, I would agree with that.
Okay. And then with regard to the antifreeze that was tested by your lab, sir, do you remember the results of the testing of the antifreeze for ethylene glycol?
I do.
And what was it?
It was 120,000 milligrams per deciliter.
Okay. Now, sir, do you know what? Well, let me ask you, sir. You've used the terms milligrams per deciliter to describe the results of all of these testing, the amount of ethylene glycol in the liquid. What does that mean, milligrams per deciliter?
It's a weight per volume explanation. I mean, that's how the units are expressed. You know, you talk about milligrams. There's 1,000 milligrams in a gram. So I express it as, you know, when I say 2,400 milligrams, I could say 2.4 grams as well. The deciliter is an interesting volume. Deciliter is 100 milliliters or 0.1 liters. And so you start doing the math. I mean, you can express these numbers in many different ways with different types of units. It's just how the laboratory reports out.
And obviously, you try to keep all of the expressions of this measurement in the same units so that they can sort of be compared to each other more easily?
You try to, but I mean, the way it's expressed from NMS perspective versus what you look at it in the literature, you really have to do some conversions.
Okay. All right. Now, sir, are you familiar with a substance called the denatonium benzoate?
I am.
Okay. And is that a substance that NMS Labs tests for?
No, we don't.
Okay. And in the course of your career, have you ever tested for denatonium benzoate?
The bittering agent? No, I have not.
And would you ever recommend to an investigator that they test for it?
Objection. Well, let me hear the question, and then I'll rule on the objection. Would you finish your question, please?
Thank you. Would you ever recommend to an investigator that they test for denatonium benzoate if ethylene glycol is present?
Just a moment. Let me see counsel at Sidebar.
Court's back in session. May be seated. Silence all cell phones.
We are going to, Mr. Anderson, just have a very brief voir dire. A question was put to you. There was an objection. I want to hear a few more questions by the prosecutor and your responses to those questions, and I'll allow defense counsel to ask a few questions outside the jury's presence so I can assess whether I'm going to permit this particular subject to be testified to by you.
All right.
Mr. Camillo.
So the question, sir, was, would you ever recommend testing for, I'm just going to call it Bitrex. Would you ever recommend to an investigator who is investigating an ethylene glycol case to test for Bitrex?
I mean, I would not. In my 36 years of conducting this type of work, I mean, our laboratory never tested for the bitterant material. You'd have to find a laboratory to test for such a thing if that was going to be a recommendation. And so it'd be hard for me to recommend any type of testing where I don't even have a lab to do the testing for you.
So just, and I'm going to jump in wherever I feel need. Sure. So just as a logistical, mechanical matter, it's something that you may not even be able to pursue.
Well, for sure you can't pursue it unless you secure a lab that can do it. And then you have to ask yourself what the purpose is of doing it. I mean, you're basically trying to identify a source of the material that contributed to the ethylene glycol found in the person.
And so what does that mean? That it doesn't have a purpose? I'm not sure I follow you.
I mean, sitting here and in all my years of experience, I don't have a purpose for it. No, it'd be I mean, if I was trying to identify the source of the problem, I'd be going after the ethylene glycol as the main contributor, if that's the question at hand.
Mr. Camillo?
No, I don't. I think that covers it.
Mr. Scully?
Thank you, Your Honor. Morning.
Good morning.
So if an investigator came to you, because your answer is a little bit hypothetical, right? You would never investigate to an investigator, or you would never recommend to an investigator to test for Bitrex. That seemed to be what you said, right?
True. I mean, I'd ask the why question.
Right. And in this case, you were not asked whether or not to test for Bitrex, right?
Correct.
Okay. So it's a little bit of a hypothetical. You would agree, right?
I would agree.
All right. So if this hypothetical investigator came to you and said, we suspect that this person may have intentionally consumed antifreeze, and we think that there might be a bittering agent in there, and we want to know whether there's ethylene glycol in the sample, and we want to know whether there's a bittering agent, would you advise that officer to, one, we can test for the ethylene glycol right here, but since you want to know what is the bittering agent, we should look for another laboratory to see if there's somebody available to do that second test, so you have both answers?
Well, if that's the desire of the investigator at that point, again, I would ask the question why,
Well,
but I certainly can't help you.
Right.
My lab and myself can't help you in that situation.
This is a hypothetical investigator, so this
Okay.
one wants to know both answers, right? In the hypothetical I just gave you.
It appears so, yes.
Right, because in their investigation, they feel it's relevant.
Correct. In this hypothetical, yes, they feel like it's important.
They want to get to the bottom of, is there just ethylene glycol, or is there ethylene glycol and a bittering agent?
If that's the question at hand, yes, that's important to them, yes.
Okay, so there are no more questions. Thank you.
Mr. Anderson, if someone said to you, an investigator, we have some question whether some liquid with ethylene glycol in it might have been consumed by a decedent unknowingly or perhaps knowingly, and so we're wondering whether there's a bittering agent in it which might shed some light on whether they would have known that something was amiss or not. What would be your response to that?
My response would be the assumption, we're all assuming that this person can even taste the bittering agent. I'm not even 100% sure that the entire population can taste it.
Do you have any particular expertise with bittering agent?
I don't. Okay. I don't. I'd have to do my own research to.
So you don't have any particular familiarity with how unpalatable it may make something?
True, I don't. And when you start getting into ethylene glycol being spiked into another substance to hide it or not hide it, then you start to wonder, even if you find the bittering agent, is it too dilute to even taste? And you'd have to go through that whole research of what is the minimum amount that 100% of the population can and can't taste. I mean, there's a lot of questions from a science perspective that I would have. You know, if you had two sources of ethylene glycol, one had it and one did not have the bittering agent, I mean, you're not able to test for the bittering agent in the person, in the blood sample. So it's not like you can identify the source as being one with or one without because this person didn't have any in the blood. I mean, that would be another scenario. There's a lot of questions at hand.
Okay. And it's not something you've thought about before?
No. I've only had one other true poisoning case, poisoned by another with ethylene glycol in my career, besides this one. This will be the second one.
All right. Any follow-up on anything I've asked, Mr. Capilio? Mr. Scully?
Just respect to that one other true poisoning case that you had with ethylene glycol, when was that?
Year 2000 out of Los Angeles. The defendant's name was Angelina Rodriguez. She's sitting on death row in California.
Thank you.
All right. So I'm going to permit the question to be put to this witness and the witness, Mr. Anderson, to answer in a certain limited fashion. I appreciate his responses to the voir dire questions, especially the ones that I put to him. It's clear to me that Mr. Anderson is very knowledgeable, thoughtful, and experienced, but Bitrex is not his field of expertise, either by training or prior experience. I will permit him to answer the question, would he have recommended, if an investigator asked about testing for Bitrex, whether that should be pursued. I will permit him to answer in two fashions that he laid out in his voir dire. One is no, his lab doesn't do it. No lab he's ever worked for has done it, and it may be difficult to find a lab that would do it. That's sort of a mechanical or logistical impediment to pursuing such testing. And two, just actually, I already really said it, but the other reason is because in all his years of working in various labs and medical examiner offices and at MSS and NMS, they've never done Bitrex testing. But I'm not going to permit him to start theorizing on why he doesn't think it would be efficacious if you found somebody to do it because of whether somebody might taste it or not, and people have different tastes and things of that sort, because I think it's beyond his realm of expertise or experience. He may certainly be cross-examined, Mr. Scully, about how many ethylene glycol cases he's had, how many Bitrex cases he's had or lack thereof. That's all fair game, but I will allow him to answer the question to that extent. And Mr. Anderson, I think you followed what I've said, correct?
I have, yeah, if I can remember it all, but yes.
So basically, with the questions put to you, the two things that I find are permissible and appropriate, and certainly within your realm of experiences, you're going to be hard put to find somebody who can do this, because nobody that I know has ever done that. And I don't recommend it because I've never worked at any lab where we've ever done this kind of testing. You may be cross-examined about how many ethylene glycol cases you've had to inform that experience, but that's fine. So that's my ruling. Let's bring our jury back in.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Where is MSS?
NMS,
NMS.
Nancy Mary Sam.
Yes.
It's outside of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Okay. I find it very hard to say for some reason. I'm usually pretty good with words, but
Right.
that one I find hard to say.
Yeah, it used to be National Medical Services.
All right, for the judge. Be seated.
You're not catching what I have, I hope. Thank you for your indulgence, folks. We're ready to continue with the examination of Mr. Anderson.
Thank you. Mr. Anderson, before we took that quick break, I had asked you, and I'll just repeat the question. Would you recommend Bitrex or denatonium benzoate testing to an investigator who was investigating an ethylene glycol poisoning case?
And your same objection for the record, Judge. Thank you.
Yes, and overruled, but all rights preserved.
Thank you.
And my answer would be no, I typically would not recommend the bittering agent test.
Why not?
Well, one, I mean, we don't have a lab, or my lab cannot test for it, and nor do I know a lab that can actually test for the bittering agent.
Thank you. Nothing further, Judge.
Mr. Scully.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
I just have a couple of follow-ups on your work that you did for the Commonwealth in this case, okay?
Yes, sir.
So you were contacted to get involved in this case by someone through the Massachusetts State Police Crime Lab, is that right?
Correct. We have a contract with the crime laboratory to submit their evidence to us, yes.
And so that contract involves multiple cases, is that fair to say?
It is in this case, yes, multiple pieces of evidence, yes.
Yeah. And do you do other cases in conjunction with the Massachusetts State Police Crime Lab?
Yes, we have.
Okay. How long has the crime lab been a customer of NMS Laboratories?
That I don't know specifically.
Okay. But they're a client, right?
They are. I mean, we have many clients throughout the nation.
Right. I'm just asking you about ours.
Again, I don't necessarily know the history of the Mass Police Department submitting.
Okay. And did you have some direct contact with a Massachusetts State Police trooper at the time, Lewis Williams?
Well, after all the testing was completed, or at least in the midst of it, yes.
Okay. So you know that name?
Trooper Williams, yes, I do.
Okay. So I just want to run through some of the test results, and I have a few follow-up questions with each one. The first one I just want to ask about is what was referred to on direct examination as the Fanta soda. This was the interference or the one where the testing was canceled. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. So there was a sample that was provided, and is it fair to say that your lab undertook an attempt to test that sample to see if it had ethylene glycol present in the sample?
Yes, we were asked to look for the three glycols, or the glycol panel on that particular one. Usually before we cancel any testing, we'll perform the test. It fails. We'll perform it again to ensure that it just was not that particular batch or date, and it failed again.
Failed twice.
It did fail twice.
And that substance, did you ever find out what the nature of that failure was?
No, there was some underlying substance in that orange fluid or liquid that was causing some concerns analytically, where you look at it and it wasn't passing all the acceptable criteria that it needs to pass in order to be reported, and thus it was canceled.
Okay. So you don't know what the actual substance was that was tested, right? Even though we're calling it something from the Fanta.
Correct. I mean, in the field of toxicology, I mean, they call that a direct analysis. You're asked to look for three glycols. You go to look for those three glycols to see if you can detect them, and there was some underlying substance that was causing us some problems, analytical interferences, and thus it could be something else, and you're not looking to identify that something else. You just cancel it and be done.
Okay. All right. So that test got canceled. And another test that you had done, and these aren't the exact order that you performed them, but the other another test that you did was for a product that was identified as Rain-X, right? And this is the one that was sent with the three samples that were part of the case file connected to the Leroy Fowler. Is that right?
Oh, I'm going to need a little bit more descriptor because
Okay.
I'm not sure which one we're talking about.
Item 2-1.1 in your patient name for your lab.
Can you help me out with the result so I can identify?
There's 11.
That's an evidential number by Mass State.
Yes, you may.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Yes, sir.
Okay, what was that?
The results are the 11 milligrams per deciliter result.
Okay. And that was connected to item 2-1.1, right?
If you say so, yes.
I'll come back up.
Okay.
I think you can talk in shorthand, and Mr. Camillo will accept it if you say Rain-X from 108 Central versus, store-bought Rain-X, so we know which you're talking about.
That this result was the Rain-X?
He already testified to it.
Yes, so, but the Rain-X from 108 Central, correct?
Rain-X, yes.
Yes,
from the
so that's what, I just want to make sure the jury's understanding which one you're talking about, not the store-bought one, the one from 108 Central. So we all understand that, correct? All right.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. I don't plan on asking any questions, sir, about the store-bought products.
Okay, that's helpful too.
Just the ones that were directly involved with this case.
Thank you.
Okay. So one of the things that you put in your report is that ethylene glycol is basically manifested in 3 stages when it's following ingestion, right?
If you're referring to the reference comment on that report,
Yes.
those are canned comments on
Okay.
every report that has an ethylene glycol result on
Okay,
it.
well, tell me if this is what you wrote. Following ingestion, toxicity of ethylene glycol is manifested in 3 stages, depending on the dose administered. Initially, CNS depression is noted, with signs including intoxication, coma, convulsions, and possibly death. Also, during this 1 to 12 hours post-ingestion period, metabolic acidosis and gastrointestinal disturbances can be noted. The second stage, 12 to 24 hours post-ingestion, is also characterized by cardiopulmonary disturbances, including tachycardia, tachypnea, and hypertension. In severe ingestions, congestive heart failure and circulatory collapse may be seen. The end stage of ethylene glycol toxicity is renal failure 24 to 72 hours post-ingestion, signed Daniel T. Anderson, forensic toxicologist. That's what you wrote in your letter about the results of the testing of the Rain-X in this case. Is that correct, sir?
Yes, that's my report. That's
Okay.
my signature.
And those are the exact words just above your signature. Is that correct, sir?
Correct. Those are a canned comment, reference comment put on all reports. Yes.
Canned, but you didn't submit something inaccurate and then sign it, right?
No, I believe that that's what it says, and I believe in what it says, yes.
Okay, so it's accurate, right?
Sure.
The other thing that you included in this report was an advisement that unless alternate arrangements are made by you, the remainder of the submitted specimens will be discarded 1 year from the date of this report, and generated data will be discarded 5 years from the date of the analysis performed, right?
Correct.
Okay, when you're saying you, that's the Mass State Police crime lab that provided the sample. This is an advisement to them, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Do you know whether arrangements were made by them to come and get this sample, which is the Rain-X we're talking about?
I don't know off the top
Do you know
of my
what
head.
happened to that sample?
I do not.
Okay. Another sample that was provided for you to look at was the sample, and you called it patient name 2-2.1, right? And this is the Powerade, the sample that came from the Powerade bottle in this case. And if we could get a stipulation to that from the prosecutor.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, it was tested. I don't know what this, I'm stipulating to.
I think you're agreeing that the test result he's about to ask Mr. Anderson about is from the Powerade.
As soon as I hear the question, I'm happy to.
And
Is item 2-2.1 the sample that was from the Powerade in this case?
Is that the 2400 result?
Yes.
I believe so, yes.
Okay, you're certain of it, right?
Well, I know I've issued a report with 2400.
Yeah.
I just don't necessarily know the police agency item number is corresponding to it. So if you're reading it and telling me it is,
Sure,
then,
I'll approach.
okay, thank you. 2-2.1 is the 2400.
Okay. Is that the sample from the Powerade that was sent to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And this 2-2.1 is listed on an NMS lab form in your letterhead, and you gave it, this sample, that patient name, right?
Well, the agency gave it that patient name. We actually assign it a work order number.
NMS gave it that patient name.
No. The patient name is just dictated from the paperwork that we received from the police agency.
That's the NMS. It says patient name, NMS, and they call it 2.2-1, right?
Correct. And we get that information from the paperwork submitted by the police agency.
Now, the result that you found there was the 2400 number, and that's milligrams per deciliter, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what I'm going to ask now is, based on the sample size that you had, the Powerade, the sample from the Powerade that you tested, that we were just talking about, 2-2.1, what was the percentage of ethylene glycol that was in that whole sample?
Well, as I recall from the report, I think only like 5 milliliters sample size was provided to NMS.
Right?
However, I don't know the total amount that was confiscated as evidence.
But what
Thus,
about-
I can't assign a percentage.
So from the 5 milliliters, can you determine the percentage of it that was the ethylene glycol based on the 2400 milligrams per deciliter?
Not as I sit here right now. No, I can't.
Does it sound like it was about 2%?
I can't say.
Okay, that math is not something you're capable of doing on the witness stand.
I wasn't planned to be doing mathematics on the witness stand, no.
Okay. All right, fair enough. Now, the difference between the amount of ethylene glycol that was located in the de-icer sample versus the amount that was located in the Powerade sample was significant, right?
The difference between those two,
Yeah.
from 11 to 2400,
Right.
is quite a bit. Yes, I would agree.
And the Rain-X is the much smaller sample, right?
Correct.
And the Powerade is the much bigger sample, right?
From a concentration perspective, yes.
Right. So there's no way, would you agree, that the Rain-X de-icer was the sole source of the ethylene glycol that was in the Powerade that was tested, because the Rain-X de-icer doesn't have enough ethylene glycol?
I would agree with that.
Okay. So there must have been some other source of ethylene glycol to get in that Powerade sample that was tested, right?
I mean, just from concentration alone, yes.
Yeah. Now, the Powerade sample that was submitted to you, was the sample itself ever tested to determine what it was? In particular, whether it was actually Powerade?
What the actual matrix was? No.
So there's the sample that came from the Powerade bottle, was tested for ethylene glycol, came back at 2,400 milligrams per deciliter, but the rest of the sample, you don't know whether it was Powerade.
That's correct. I
You
mean,
don't know whether it was orange soda.
I have no idea.
Do you know what color it was?
I don't off the top of my head, no. I mean, it may say at the bottom of that report.
Okay.
It was some of the liquids were noted to have color to them, but I don't recall.
Okay. You don't recall the color. That's okay. And so you don't know what the actual rest of the liquid was, right?
I mean, in my experience, there's no way of testing whether it was Kool-Aid, orange juice, soda. We wouldn't be able to test for that.
Okay. Now, the same advisement that was contained in your report, the toxicology report that you signed about the destruction of the specimen that was given in relation to the other samples was given in relation to the sample connected to the Powerade sample as well, right?
Correct. It's a canned statement.
Yeah, so unless alternate arrangements are made by you, the remainder of the submitted specimen, meaning the Powerade specimen in this case, will be discarded 1 year from the date of this report, right?
Yes, and that goes with the client and the agreement with that client that NMS has.
They get this information provided back to them, and then it's incumbent on them to go get the sample if they want to preserve it, right?
Yes.
And to your knowledge, no such arrangements were ever made.
I didn't see any, no.
Okay. Now, you testified a little bit on direct examination. You had some testimony, we took a break, and you came back to it. And it had to do with sort of a hypothetical question that the prosecutor asked about, would you, if an investigator asked you to, would you recommend that they test for a bittering agent, right?
That's correct.
And your answer was that my lab doesn't do that work, right?
My lab, or I don't know of a lab that does.
And it might be difficult to find a lab that does that work, right?
Yes.
Now, you've also disclosed that you have vast experience in this field, but only one true ethylene glycol poisoning case that you've worked on, and that was a case in LA, Los Angeles, back in 2000, correct?
Correct. I
Okay.
said this during the break outside the jury's
Yeah.
presence, but yes.
Yeah. All right. And so, in this case, that was a hypothetical that the prosecutor asked you to answer about a hypothetical investigator, not a real investigator, because they never specifically asked you to test for it in this particular case, right?
That's correct.
Okay. And your lab doesn't do the testing anyway, so you wouldn't have been able to do it.
That's correct.
If they wanted that information, they would have had to have located an outside laboratory to see if they could do it.
That would be my recommendation, yes.
And that could be difficult to do, right?
Very difficult.
Okay, thank you. No further questions.
Mr. Camellia.
In that California case that you just talked to us about,
Objection. Have you seen it, Sidebar?
All right.
In that California case that you just referenced for us, sir, what substance did you test in that case to see if it contained ethylene glycol?
We only tested the decedent's biological material, so blood, liver, urine, gastric.
Okay. All right, thank you. Nothing further.
Anything further? I don't think so. I wouldn't think.
No, thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Anderson.
Thank you.
Ms. Strasnick?
Thank you, and before I call the next witness, yesterday the Commonwealth displayed a digital image of a cup during Sergeant Williams' testimony.
Yes.
That's been put on a CD. There's no objection to that being marked as the next exhibit.
There is an objection.
There is an objection.
Correct. That was my witness.
Yes?
I object.
All right, because you think the digital image is not a fair characterization?
That's correct. It appears to have been lightened.
Didn't the witness say it was?
I don't know. He identified the red cup
All right.
as the image, called it orange, and then
The,
he showed
the-
a digital image that wasn't even in evidence.
All right, the objection is overruled. It may be admitted.
You know, the Commonwealth would call Juliana Hooper, please.
And by the way, jurors, when you heard me say, didn't the witness say it was accurate? If that's what the witness said, you still determine whether it's accurate. That's just a matter of whether I admit the exhibit. That is, it's been authenticated in some fashion as an appropriate picture for you to see. But it's always for you to decide whether, as you heard Mr. Scully suggest, it's been lightened or whether it's, in fact, an accurate depiction of the liquid.
Would you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in the cause now in hearing shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you. You may be seated.
May I proceed, Your Honor?
Yes, you may.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Could you please introduce yourself to the members of the jury, stating and spelling your name for the record?
My name is Juliana Hooper. First name is Julianna, and last name is Hooper.
What is your occupation?
I'm currently a forensic scientist too at the Massachusetts State Police Crime Laboratory.
And before getting specifically into what it means to be a forensic scientist too, could you very briefly describe your educational background to the jurors?
I have a Bachelor of Science degree from Western New England University.
What is a forensic scientist too?
I currently work in the criminalistics unit as a forensic scientist too, where I examine, test, and collect evidence.
How long have you worked as a criminalist within the Massachusetts State Police Crime Lab?
I have been a forensic scientist since 2019.
Prior to 2019, were you employed by the Massachusetts State Police Crime Lab?
Yes, I was.
In what capacity?
In 2017, I was a laboratory technician, also at the criminalistics unit.
What were your duties and responsibilities as a laboratory technician within the crime unit?
I basically maintained the cleanliness and quality control within the lab, as well as make chemicals and prepare samples for external testing.
As a member of the criminalistics unit, could you briefly describe what your duties and responsibilities are in that position?
Currently?
Yes.
So currently, any evidence that is submitted to the laboratory by external agencies or ourselves, I examine for blood, semen, saliva, trace, damage. I also collect for other units like DNA, arson, and trace.
Do you have specialized training for those responsibilities that you just described?
Yes.
Could you briefly describe what those specialized trainings are?
I received my training through the crime lab in the criminalistics unit. Basically, the training entails each type of collection and testing has their own module. So, for example, blood, semen, and saliva have their own sections. So we do a lecture, in-lab practices, written test, and an final lab test to complete the training.
And does your work as well as other members of the criminalistics unit undergo any type of ongoing quality assurance controls?
Yes.
And what is a quality assurance control?
So for testing, we do quality assurance controls on the chemicals that we use. And then other than that, we also do proficiency testing to ensure that we're still testing our evidence correctly, or if the protocols or training needs to be updated. And then we also have audits as well, both internal and external.
And what is specifically is a proficiency test?
So proficiency test is given yearly, and basically it's from an external vendor. We get samples that we then test using our protocols, and there's a key that is used later on for grading it, and we either pass or fail, and from there, if pass, great. If fail, then it goes on to a quality assurance investigation.
Is there also competency testing that you undergo to ensure that your work is being done properly?
Yes.
Just very briefly describe that as well, please.
Similar to proficiency test, again, it's just samples that are given to us, and then there's a key afterwards to grade it. For the competency test, that is done after training is done, so that we can ensure that I can complete the testing and follow the protocols correctly.
Is the Massachusetts State Police Crime Laboratory accredited?
Yes.
What does that mean?
That means that we undergo audits through an external vendor to ensure that we're following international forensic standards.
Does the work that you specifically do in your unit undergo any type of review process?
Yes.
What type of process does your work undergo for review?
Once I complete work with a specific case, it then gets reviewed by a peer to ensure that everything that I did was done correctly and based on our protocols.
In the criminalistics unit, before getting into the specifics of this case, in the criminalistics unit, how are cases assigned to you or other members of your unit?
Once they have been reviewed by our case management unit, it's then assigned to our criminalistics unit itself, which then is assigned to me by my supervisor.
And when items come into the laboratory for potential examination or testing, is there a way in which the lab is able to keep track of those items in terms of where they are and who is testing them?
Yes.
Could you describe that process to the jury briefly?
We use an electronic laboratory information management system that basically tracks it through the case number and item numbers and tracks the custody of the item as it goes through the lab.
Is a short nickname for that the LIM system?
Yes.
Is every case that's submitted to the lab given a unique case number assigned to it?
Yes.
Is it fair to say that for every potential or every piece of evidence that's submitted to the lab, it has a unique item number that goes with that case number?
Yes.
And is that tracked throughout the lab depending on if it's in the criminalistics unit, the arson unit, crime scene services, if fingerprinting was done?
Correct.
Once your supervisor assigns you a case, what is the process? What do you do?
I first review the case information, so if there's any police reports or notes on the case, and then I also ensure that the items that were submitted are documented in our case file as well, and then I go from there in terms of testing and collecting within the lab itself.
So if you get assigned a case, where is it that you go to retrieve any items that you are to examine?
They are located in a cold storage room or a locked storage area.
What do you do once you go to either the cold storage room or the locked storage area?
Retrieve the item and then put it into my custody.
And is that scanned so that it's able to be monitored that it's in your custody?
Yes.
Once an item or items are taken into your custody, how do you maintain the integrity of those items while you're testing it?
So all items are sealed into their own packaging with initials and date to ensure that they're sealed and not tampered with. And then I do photographs of the packaging. I also ensure that the area I'm working on is bleached and clean, as well as the utensils like pencils, pens, rulers, and tweezers are all cleaned and ready to go. I also place a piece of bench paper down, and then that's when I open up the item and put it on the bench paper.
And you specifically, are you wearing any items to ensure the integrity of any testing that that's being done on those items?
Yes.
What type of things are you wearing, I guess?
So in the lab, we wear lab coats, mask, and gloves.
And when you're doing swabbing or testing of various items, do you do the items together or separately?
Separately.
And why is that?
To ensure no cross-contamination.
I want to specifically turn your attention to this case, the lab number 22-24257. At some point, were you assigned to conduct some examination or testing on various items that had been submitted that related to this case.
Yes.
And what specifically did you do as it related to this case once you became assigned?
After I was assigned, reviewed the case, and then started working on specific items that were submitted.
I want to specifically talk to you about item 2-1. Do you remember what that item was?
Yes.
And what was that?
It was submitted as a de-icer bottle.
And what did you first do as it related to that de-icer bottle 2-1?
I first documented it with a ruler, case number, item number, my initials and date on the bench paper, so photographs, and then I also documented any observations that I saw as well.
If I may approach, Your Honor?
Yes, you may.
Super, I'm just going to show you two photographs and ask if you recognize those two photographs.
I do.
And what do you recognize those as being?
The photographs I took of the de-icer bottle.
If these could be marked as the next two exhibits, please.
Any objection?
No objection.
They may be admitted.
Exhibit 55 and 56 are marked.
With the court's permission, if I may publish exhibit 55.
Yes, you may.
Thank you. This is the item that we're just talking about, right?
Correct.
And the background is the bench paper that you just described.
Correct.
The ruler is depicted in this as well.
Yes.
And the numbers, if you could just take us through what's written on the bottom of the photograph that you took.
So the 22-24257 is the case number. The 2-1 is the item number. And then next to that are my initials, JRH, and the date that I took the photograph.
I'm going to now show you what's been marked as exhibit 56 and ask if you recognize that.
Yes.
And again, those same markings on the bottom that you just described.
Yes.
After photographing that bottle, what, if anything, did you do as it related to that item?
After photographing and documenting observations, I then swabbed areas of that bottle.
And could you kind of take the jury through, when you say you swabbed areas of the bottle, what is the process for which you use to swab an item?
So the swabs that we use basically are a two-sided piece of material that's flat, kind of like a spatula at the end of a stick. One side is moistened with water. I then apply that to an area on an item. And then on the other side, it's dry. I then reapply that area to swab up any potential DNA.
And how many swabs did you do of that specific item?
1.
If I may approach, Your Honor.
Yes, you may.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as exhibit 22. Is this the actual exhibit that is depicted in the photograph that you were just discussing?
Yes.
Could you show the jury how it is that you specifically swabbed that item, what you would have done or did?
So taking the swab, again, it's on a stick and it has like cotton at the end, swabbing the handle area and the exterior cap area. So going over it once with the wet side and then once again with the dry side.
And you swab the cap and the handle area together for that item?
Yes.
What do you do with the swab once you've completed your swabbing of that item, specifically what's in front of you?
The sample is then allowed to dry. I do label it with the item number. So this would be item 2-1, and the swab now has 2-1.2 attached to it. Once it's dried, I then make a sample for DNA testing.
And is it fair to say that that was given item 2-1 when it was submitted to the lab as potential evidence, correct?
Yes.
Any prior testing that would have been done as it related to that item, whether a fluid was removed from it, that was item 2-1.1?
Correct. If there was any other sampling before that, it would have been given an item number first as 2-1.1, and then when I worked on it, my sample would be 2-1.2.
And in this case, that's specifically the item number that it was, item 2-1.2.
Yes.
What did you do with the swab of that item 2-1.2 once it was dry?
Once it's dry, I then prepared a half of the swab for DNA testing.
Why do you do half of the swab?
That is routine for this type of analysis, so it's just general DNA collection. So we do half of the sample for DNA, and we preserve the other half for any additional DNA testing that may be done later on.
How are you able to obtain half of the swab? What specifically do you do?
I use a sterile scalpel to cut the half.
And that half that is cut that then's going on to DNA, is that given another lab number to correspond with the half of the swab that then is being sent to DNA?
Yes.
And in this case, what specifically was that half a swab number that was sent to DNA?
2-1.2.1.
And is that the extent of the testing that you did as it related to the item that's in front of you, the Rain-X bottle?
Yes.
Did you have an occasion to do additional testing on items that were submitted to the lab?
Yes.
Specifically, did you have an occasion to do testing on item 2-2?
Yes.
And what is item 2-2?
Item 2-2 was submitted as a Powerade bottle.
And could you very briefly again just take us through what you did with the Powerade bottle as it related to your examination?
Similar to the de-icer bottle, bleached area, new bench paper, item number, case number, all that type of stuff with the ruler on the bench paper, photographs, and then documentation of anything that I observed.
So any testing or swabbing that you did as it related to the Rain-X bottle, everything's cleared away, your entire station is cleared, bleached, and you essentially start over with the second item?
Yes.
If I may approach, Your Honor?
Yes, you may.
I'm going to show you two additional photographs, and the super and ask if you recognize this. And I'll also take that away. You recognize those?
Yes, I do.
What do you recognize those as?
These are photographs of item 2-2, the Powerade bottle.
And you took those?
Yes.
If those could be marked as the next two exhibits, please.
Any objection? No? All right, they may be admitted.
Is it 57, 58, so marked?
With the court's permission, may I publish these as well?
Yes.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as Exhibit 57 first. Again, this is the Powerade bottle that you were just describing.
Yes.
And this is the clean bench paper that you described behind it.
Correct.
Again, the lab number that you described, the specific item number, your initials, and the date.
Yes.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as Exhibit 58. And is that just the other side of the Powerade with those same identifying numbers and letters on the bottom?
Correct.
What did you do as it related to item 2-2 after you photographed it?
Similar to the previous item 2-1, I also swabbed it for potential DNA testing as well.
How many swabs did you do as it related to the Powerade bottle?
I did 2 separate swabs and samples.
And when you do 2 separate swabs and samples, do you follow the same procedure that you just described in terms of the moist Q-tip and swabbing it?
Yes.
Which 2 areas did you swab when you tested the Powerade?
The first sample I took was 2-2.2, which was 1 swab of the entire exterior of the Powerade bottle. And then the second sample I took, which was 2-2.3, was a swab of the interior cap and mouth area of the bottle.
And if I may approach?
Yes.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as Exhibit 20 and identified as item 2-2. I don't know if you want the gloves or not. But if you could describe to the jurors specifically the first swab that you did, the exterior of that item, which became 2-2.2. Could you show the jury which area you swabbed on that item?
So for 2-2.2, that was the swab of the entire exterior. So again, just taking the swab and doing the entire surface once over with the wet side and then again with the dry side to collect any potential DNA.
And did you follow the same procedure that you described relative to what you do with the swab after you've completed the swabbing, having it dry?
Yes.
And did you cut that swab in half and send half to DNA?
Yes.
Was the swab that was sent to DNA given another item number to indicate that it was half of the original swab?
Yes, it would have been given 2-2.2.1.
Now, as it related to the second swab that you did of the Powerade, did you change your gloves in between doing the first swab and the second swab?
Yes.
And could you describe to the jury specifically what you did as it related to that Powerade bottle when you did that second swab of the interior cap and mouth area?
So for the second swab, I would remove the cap first and then swab the.
If you don't, yeah, could you show them specifically what you did? If you don't. mind?
So basically swab all outside of the mouth area and the inside of the mouth area right here. And then also on that same swab, the interior of the cap as well.
And is it fair to say that second swab was the specific area that was not encompassed in the first swab of the exterior?
Correct.
All of the areas that you swabbed during that second swabbing were covered by the cap that you had to remove to swab?
Yes.
And did you follow the same procedure as it related to that swab as you've previously described on the other swabbings?
Yes.
And after it dried, did you cut it in half and then send it for DNA?
Yes.
What item number did that become?
That would then be 2-2.3.1.
And when you cut that swab in half and sent it to become or became 2-2.3.1, the scapular that you used to cut it, was that cleaned or different than the scapular that you used to cut the swab from the exterior?
Yes. So for each sample, it would be their own scalpels, disposable, clean, one-time use.
In addition, did you have an occasion to do some additional testing as it related to a blood sample provided to the laboratory?
Yes.
And what was that sample that you were asked to do some testing on?
That was 5-1.
And was that the known blood sample of Leroy Fowler taken from autopsy?
Yes.
And what did you do as it related to 5-1?
So basically it is a blood tube that we receive, and all that is required is to take a couple of drops from it and place it on a clean piece of paper that then gets sent to the DNA unit.
Did you follow the same procedure as it related to that blood tube that you were asked to essentially send to DNA by photographing the item prior to taking the blood from it?
Yes.
If I may approach, Your Honor?
Yes, you may.
I'm going to show you two more photos and I'll see if we recognize those.
Yes, I do.
What do you recognize those as?
The sample 5-1, the blood tube.
Is it fair to say that it was originally in packaging and you had to remove the tube and you also photographed that as well?
Yes.
If those could be marked as the next two exhibits, please.
No objection, Judge.
They may.
And 60, so much.
Thank you. With the court's permission, if I could publish those?
Yes, you may.
I'm going to actually just show you what's been marked as Exhibit 60 first. If you could describe what's depicted in there.
So this is the packaging that contains the blood tube.
And I'm not going to zoom in, but did it have that LIMS number and the item number that we've been describing depicted on the barcode on the package?
Yes, it has the LIMS number and the specific container that the item is documented in LIMS as being in.
And that barcode's how it's scanned throughout the lab for potential testing?
Yes.
I'm going to show you now what's been marked as Exhibit 59. And that's the blood tube?
Yes.
Once you put the blood from that tube onto a paper, it's sent to DNA?
Yes.
And am I correct that you have no involvement in the DNA testing? You just collected the items and they're moved to another unit within the Massachusetts State Police?
Correct.
As it related to the item 5-1 that we're talking about, prior to removing that tube and doing any testing, was that done after the testing, the swabbing of the Powerade that we were just discussing?
Yes.
Is it fair to say that the blood 5-1 was never in the same area of the Powerade bottle while you were swabbing it?
Correct.
I have no further questions for this witness.
Mr. Norconis.
Judge, if I could
So I could claim the USB drive that had all the items from the search.
Sure.
Item 48, the search of the house.
48 is the defendant's interview. Twenty-nine contains photos. 33 also contains photos. No, that was one that was marked.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
Now, in relation to the bottle itself that you were just shown, Powerade bottle.
Yes, you may.
Yeah.
When you receive that, you're already at the Massachusetts State Police Lab in Sudbury, right?
I'm actually located in Danvers, but correct, in the lab itself.
Somebody brings it in, right? When they bring it in, is it any type of special sealed bag or anything?
I don't know how it was submitted, but I do know that once it reaches the lab, it has to be sealed before it goes into our custody.
And in terms of what you do for testing, does it matter? Like you're not aware of how it was found or where it was found, right?
No, we only receive recovery location on the evidence submission form, but we do not know, other than that form, where it came from before then.
Now, is it fair to say in context of DNA, that like fingerprints, DNA can be left on a substance, and the presence of that alone does not provide sufficient information as to how it was deposited, right?
Correct.
When it was deposited, correct?
Yes.
Or who deposited it, correct?
Correct.
And DNA can cling to an object. The studies would show you for decades, right, if it's undisturbed.
Yes.
And in the normal household, that might simply be days or weeks, correct?
Yes.
And in terms of, there's something called secondary transfer, right?
Yes.
All right. Secondary transfer would be that an individual can deposit DNA on an object without ever touching it, right? It can have touched something else that then touched that object.
I have heard of secondary transfer. I don't know the definition. I'm not as familiar with that as someone in DNA may have been.
DNA can be left on an object by someone who touched it or was touched by someone who then touched the object, or even further removed. It can travel easily itself, right? It doesn't necessarily always have to be, I touched this. I could be close enough, or the cells could get on that object, right?
Correct. DNA can come from various forms like saliva and other things that can be deposited without touch.
So when you bottle itself, in this particular case, if it came from a recycle bin, we'd be able to have that from item 29, it's an exhibit. If the object that was placed or given to you came from a large recycle bin with numerous other objects from that same household, then there could have been a transfer aspect from any of those other items to that bottle, correct?
There is a possibility of contamination.
And particularly because you would not know how long it had sat in that container, correct?
Correct.
And how long, and what the weather conditions may be. A little bit of wind could blow DNA from one of the other objects to that object, right?
I don't know about that, but I do know that like the reason why we test and collect from items separately is because there can be cross-contamination when they come into contact with each other. So that could be another reason for cross-contamination.
Now, in terms of testing at the lab, on items such as that bottle that come into the lab, from your knowledge of how the processing works, there could be a request for both DNA and fingerprints, right?
Yes.
Now, if you test for fingerprints, you can eliminate the DNA, right? Don't you? If you're testing for fingerprints, are you swabbing?
So for the fingerprint analysis, that's done before the swabbing to ensure that if there's fingerprints, we don't destroy them from swabbing. So first, it's looked for fingerprints if there are none, or even if there are some and there isn't a clear indication of where they came from, we still swab for DNA.
So you would go to fingerprints first, then DNA?
Yes.
And doing the fingerprint isn't going to eliminate or contaminate the DNA?
No.
You would hope, right?
Yeah, as far as we know, yeah.
Now, in relation to the cap itself on the bottle, and they claim that, Judge?
Yes, you may.
Fair to say that this is full. I can't drink it with that cap on, right?
Oh, correct, yes.
So I have to take the cap off, right?
Yes.
And when I take the cap off, I want to put it in the jury box here. I could put the cap here, right?
Correct.
Therefore, if there's someone else's DNA in there, it's going to get in potentially on the inside of the cap, right?
Potentially.
Right? Either transfer or if I move the cap, right? And in the household situation, if my wife touched my hand, I wiped my mouth on it, I could have had her DNA on my lips, right?
Potentially. I do know that for the skin cells in the mouth, they are a little bit more loose than skin cells on skin, so I don't know how much of DNA would be left behind, or if any, I'm not sure.
And then when I touch the mouth of the bottle, her DNA is going to be there, right? Potentially. Right?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
You can't say no, right?
I'm not.
Transfer, a secondary transfer, touch something else and touches that, right?
Yeah, I'm not familiar with how transfer studies have gone in terms of that type of
Now, in
transfer.
this particular case, you got to learn that this was taken from a household where the two people whose DNA are associated with it lived there, right?
As far as I know, yes.
And therefore, potentially touched everything in the house, right?
Potentially.
DNA is all over the place, right?
Could be.
Potentially some in the air, potentially, right?
Again, I'm not sure how DNA transfers in that way.
And so having it on the bottle is just, it's inconclusive as to how it arrived on the bottle, correct?
Correct.
Now, and again, as far as how long it had been on the bottle itself, right?
Correct.
And were there any fingerprints on the bottle? Did you strike that? Did you do the fingerprint testing?
I did not.
Okay. And again, that was done before the DNA testing, right?
Correct.
In relation to strike that, Judge. I don't have any further questions. Thank you.
Mr. Osnick?
No further questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Hooper. You may step down.
The Commonwealth would call Krista Lundgren, please.
Raise your right hand for me, please. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in the cause now in hearing shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? I do. Thank you. You may be seated.
Good morning.
May I proceed, Your Honor?
Yes, you may.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Could you please introduce yourself to the members of the jury, telling them your name and then also spelling it for the record?
Yes, my name is Krista Lundgren, Krista Lundgren.
What is your current occupation?
I'm a forensic scientist too at the Massachusetts State Police Crime Lab in the DNA unit.
How long have you been employed by the Massachusetts State Police Crime Laboratory?
I've been there for 10 years and 4 months.
And how long have you been a forensic scientist too?
I have been a forensic scientist too for about 9 years.
What does it mean to be a forensic scientist too?
It means that I complete DNA testing on items of evidence as well as known reference standards. I write reports detailing those results, and I can testify to them if needed.
What is the nature of the work that you do at the Massachusetts State Police Crime Lab?
So we complete DNA testing on items of evidence. We do comparisons between those profiles and known profiles obtained from an individual. We calculate statistics and write reports detailing those results.
Prior to your employment within the Massachusetts State Police Crime Lab, did you have additional employment in the field?
I did.
And where was that?
I worked at Sorensen Forensics, which is a private forensic laboratory in Salt Lake City, Utah, and I was there as a DNA analyst for 2 years.
Could you describe to the members of the jury your educational background, please?
I have a bachelor's of science in forensic science and a bachelor's of science in biotechnology, and that's from the University of New Haven. And I have a professional science master's degree in applied genomics, and that's from the University of Connecticut.
Do you have additional experience in the area of forensic biology?
I do. So besides working at Sorensen and the Massachusetts State Police Crime Lab, I completed 2 internships. During undergraduate studies, I interned at the New York City Office of the Chief Medical Examiner and their Department of Forensic Biology. And I also participated in an internship during graduate school at the Connecticut Division of Scientific Services in their DNA unit.
And this may be obvious, but could you describe what is forensic biology?
Forensic biology is the application of science to testing items of evidence and doing DNA testing.
Have you received any specialized training in addition to what you've already described as it relates to forensic biology?
Yes, so before beginning casework at both Sorensen as well as the State Police Crime Lab, we're required to participate in a training program. This involves learning and demonstrating laboratory techniques as well as data interpretation training, and you have to take and pass competency tests and quizzes before you can begin actually working on casework. And I did that at both locations.
Approximately how many cases would you say you've had the opportunity to perform DNA analysis on at the Massachusetts State Lab?
About 1,600 at the State Lab and about 1,000 at Sorensen.
Are you familiar with the term proficiency testing?
Yes, I am.
What is proficiency testing?
A proficiency test evaluates an analyst's ability to perform DNA testing. We're required to take and pass one test every 6 months in order to remain proficient and to be able to continue doing casework. The proficiency test is submitted to our lab like any other case, and we treat it like all casework, but we send the results back to that company who then grades it. And again, we have to take and pass one every 6 months.
And approximately how many proficiency tests have you participated in?
I've taken and passed 4 at Sorensen and 19 at the State Police Crime Lab.
How many times have you testified regarding DNA analysis that you've done during your time with the Massachusetts State Lab?
Over 50.
And what about with Sorensen Forensics?
About 10 times with them.
Is the Massachusetts State Police Crime Laboratory accredited?
We are.
What does that mean?
It means that we've received formal recognition from an external source that we meet or exceed the quality assurance guidelines that are set forth by the FBI, as well as we're meeting the ISO 17025 standards for forensic testing.
And where do those standards come from?
They're generated by the accreditation body, which is ANAB at our laboratory, and we need to follow those in order to remain accredited.
And that's a neutral body that evaluates what the state police lab is doing to making sure that what they're doing is accurate and reliable?
Correct.
What type of quality assurance methods does the Massachusetts State Police Lab take to ensure reliable results in its testing?
There are many that we take, but one of the major ones is we have standard operating procedures that we call SOPs. These are similar to a recipe where it tells us how much chemicals to use, how long to use instrumentation for, so that regardless of who is doing that step in the lab, it's being done the same way every time. We also include positive and negative controls throughout our testing. So the positive control will show if the reaction worked properly, and the negative control will show if there's been any contamination introduced throughout that step. And we also make sure that all of our chemicals that we use on casework are tested first to make sure that they're working properly and contamination free before we then go and put them into a case.
And you may have mentioned some of this already, but does the Massachusetts State Police Lab follow standardized protocols and procedures with its testing?
We do.
And is that in conjunction with some of the stuff that you were just testifying to?
Yes.
Does your work undergo any type of review process?
It does. There's a two-step review process at our laboratory that involves a technical and an administrative review.
You had mentioned that these protocols and procedures and assurance methods that are done at the lab are steps to prevent any type of contamination. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Are you familiar with an elimination database?
We are.
And what is
am.
that? Or you are. What is that?
So that's an in-house database that we have filled with DNA profiles from employees that work throughout the laboratory. And so anytime we obtain a DNA profile from an item of evidence, we search it against that database to ensure that it doesn't hit to any employee or show any signs that there was a contamination event during the processing.
In addition to that, in terms of ensuring the reliability of your results, are there quality assurance measures that you yourself take in terms of the DNA testing that you're doing and the samples that are done within the lab?
Yes, so there are many steps, and the first is to make sure that our processing area is very clean and sprayed down with bleach. We also put down a layer of bench paper, and we are wearing protective equipment such as a hairnet, a face mask, gloves, and a lab coat to ensure that our DNA does not get into the testing that we're doing.
Now I want to specifically talk to you about the reason you're here. What is DNA?
DNA stands for deoxyribonucleic acid, and it is the genetic blueprint for life. You inherit half your DNA from your mother and half from your father. And during DNA testing, we look at specific regions throughout the DNA. And within those regions, each person has a unique number of repeated segments. So it's the number of repeated segments that are unique to a person with the exception of an identical twin, and what we look for during DNA testing.
What kinds of biological materials contain DNA?
It can be found in biological fluids like blood, semen, saliva, and it can also be found in skin cells.
And is it fair to say that whether it's blood, semen, saliva, or skin cells, the DNA profile for an individual will be the same in any of those locations?
Yes.
Is DNA different between humans?
Yes, with the exception of an identical twin.
What is a DNA profile?
It is the number of repeated segments that a person has at each of the locations that we test, and those all combine to create a DNA profile.
And is it fair to say that when you're looking at a DNA profile, you're looking at unique regions within the DNA profile, correct?
Yes.
Are there certain steps that are involved in obtaining a DNA profile?
Yes, there are.
And is it a 4-step process?
So there's 4 steps in the lab, and then there's 2 steps beyond that.
Could you take us through those steps?
Sure. So the first step is sample preparation, and this is when an analyst will take custody of a sampling of evidence that's been taken by someone from the criminalistics unit. We will take custody of that sample and identify the unique case number and item number that has been given, and also document what that looks like when we receive it. And then we move into the laboratory steps, which the first is extraction. And during this step, we apply heat and chemicals to that sampling of the evidence. And that will cause any cells that might be on that sample of evidence to come off and break open and to release the DNA we want to test into the liquid. We can then separate all unwanted cellular material from the DNA so that all that's left at the end of extraction is just the DNA we want to analyze. We then quantify it to find how much DNA is there, and we need to know how much for the next step, which is amplification, where we make millions of copies of those specific regions throughout the DNA we want to analyze. And we need the millions of copies for the next step, which is detection, where we detect the DNA profile that was on the item of evidence. And the very last step is interpretation, where an analyst like myself will interpret that DNA profile that we got off of the item of evidence and determine how many people donated DNA to the sample and if it's suitable to be compared to a sample from an individual. And if it is, we'll do that comparison and calculate statistics and then write a report.
So essentially, you break open the cells and you collect the DNA. Then you check to make sure that you have enough DNA to actually compare it to a potential profile, correct?
Yes, we make sure that there is enough DNA there to move forward to amplify it, and that there's enough DNA profile at the end to be suitable to be compared.
And the amplification, the millions of copies that you described making, why are you making millions of copies at that amplification stage?
So we need enough information to be able to detect it in the following stage.
Is it fair to say these are really small things and you're copying them so that you're able to visualize them?
Correct.
And once they're analyzed, you said it moves on to the interpretation phase. Is that correct?
Yes,
Are you familiar with the term a question sample?
I am.
What is a question sample?
It comes from an item of evidence where the source of the DNA on that sample is unknown.
And are you familiar with a reference sample or a known sample?
Yes.
And what is that?
That is a sample taken directly from an individual where the source of the DNA is known. So an example would be blood drawn directly from your arm or a swab taken from the inside of your mouth.
And is it fair to say a known standard doesn't matter if it's blood from your arm or a swab from your mouth? The DNA is going to be the same no matter where it's taken from a person?
Correct.
In the lab, are the question samples processed in a different location than the known or reference samples?
Yes.
And why is that?
That is to ensure there's no contamination between the two.
And is it fair to say whoever's analyzing the reference samples doesn't have any, the question samples doesn't have any information relative to the known or reference samples until their testing is complete?
Correct.
I want to specifically, I don't know if it's a good time to break or if you want me to just keep going before I switch gears.
I think we can keep going a little bit because we've had one quick break and got.
Certainly. I want to specifically turn your attention to your testimony today. Does it relate to lab case number 22-24257?
It does.
And at some point were you assigned to analyze data from this case?
I was.
Specifically, could you describe to the jury what you were asked to do?
So there were 3 samples that were sent for DNA testing. The first was item 2-1.2.1, which was a sample of the handle and exterior cap of a bottle of de-icer. The second item was sample 2-2.2.1, which was a swabbing of the exterior of a Powerade bottle. And the final sample was item 2-2.3.1, which was a swabbing of the mouth and interior cap of the Powerade bottle. And all 3 of those were recovered from 108 Central Avenue.
And specifically, those 3 items was the process that you described in terms of generating a potential DNA profile done as it related to each of those 3 items that you just described?
Yes.
Was testing also done at the lab on reference samples?
Yes.
And specifically, were there 3 reference samples that were provided to your lab where known DNA profiles were generated for future comparison with any DNA profile that may be able to be generated from the 3 items that you just described?
Yes.
And specifically, was one of them related to item 5-1.01.1.1, a known blood standard of Leroy Fowler?
It was.
And was one of them item 7-1.1, a known DNA swab of Judy Church?
It was.
And was one of those items item 8-1.1, a known blood swab, saliva swab of Barbara Randall?
It was.
And that's generated in another part of the lab, and it's essentially provided to you after your testing to compare whether any of those 3 individuals were consistent with the profile that you may have been able to generate, correct?
Yes.
I want to specifically talk to you about item 2-1.2.1, the sample of a handle and exterior cap of a bottle of de-icer from 108 Central Avenue. Could you describe to the members of the jury what the results were as it related to your examination of that testing?
The DNA profile was a mixture not suitable for comparison due to the quality of the profile.
And we should have probably talked about this earlier, but what is a mixture?
A mixture is when there's DNA detected from more than one individual.
And on a unknown profile or a question sample, is a mixture common?
Yes.
And why is that?
Because it depends. There can often be a lot of DNA from different people on different objects.
And is it fair to say you don't know where these question samples are coming from or where they have been, so they're not the type of pristine profile that you might expect from swabbing someone's mouth or taking someone's blood?
Correct.
And in this case, you had indicated it was a mixture not suitable for comparison due to the quality of the profile. What does that mean?
That means that there is not enough information or enough DNA there to generate a profile that was suitable to compare to a reference standard.
As it related to item 2-2.2.2.1, the sample of the exterior of a Powerade bottle from 108 Central Avenue, was the same process that you described done as it related to that item?
Yes.
And were you able to determine if that was a single source profile, a mixture, either way?
Yes.
And what were you able to determine?
The DNA profile was interpreted as a mixture of 3 contributors, including male DNA.
And when you say a mixture of 3 contributors, how are you able to determine based on your evaluation of the data that's generated through that 4-step process that there's a mixture of 3 contributors?
It's based on looking at the DNA profile that's been obtained and seeing how much information we see, and it displayed and showed that it was from 3 individuals.
And that's based on the various locations that you're able to see in the DNA, that there's more DNA than you'd expect from 2 individuals, but it's consistent with 3.
Yes.
And what did you do as it related to that item from the exterior of the Powerade bottle once it was determined that there were 3 contributors, at least one of which was male?
Then that profile was compared to standards for Mr. Fowler, Ms. Church, and Ms. Randall.
And what were your results before I do that, how did you know there was male DNA present in that mixture?
There are certain parts of DNA that are specific to male, the Y chromosome being the location, and this profile indicated the presence of male in that Y chromosome.
And at some point you were able to compare the profile that was generated from the sample of the exterior of the Powerade bottle from 108 Central Avenue to the known reference profile from the blood of Leroy Fowler. Is that correct?
Correct.
And based on your training experience, what were your results as it related to that comparison?
The DNA profile from this item is at least 9.9 sextillion times more likely if it originated from Leroy Fowler and 2 unknown individuals than if it originated from 3 unknown, unrelated individuals. This provides support for an inclusion.
How big is a sextillion?
It is a 1 with 21 zeros after it.
And you found that inclusion for Mr. Fowler in the DNA profile from the exterior of the Powerade bottle was 9.9 sextillion in favor of inclusion?
Yes.
Excuse me. Did you have an opportunity to compare that same DNA DNA profile that was generated from the exterior of the Powerade bottle to the known DNA profile of Judy Church?
I did.
And could you describe to the juries, based on your training and experience, what the results of that comparison was?
The DNA profile from this item is at least 36 septillion times more likely if it originated from Judy Church and 2 unknown individuals than if it originated from 3 unknown unrelated individuals, and this provides support for an inclusion.
How big is a septillion?
It is a 1 with 24 zeros after it.
So it's bigger than a sextillion?
Correct.
And did you also have an opportunity to compare that same DNA profile from the exterior of the Powerade bottle to the known DNA profile of Barbara Randall?
I did.
And based on your training and experience, could you describe to the jury what your results are when you did that comparison?
Barbara Randall is excluded from this DNA profile.
Did you also have an occasion, you had said that you had done a third DNA testing on item 2-2.3.1, which is the sample, the swabbing from the sample of the mouth and interior cap of the Powerade bottle from 108 Central Ave. Is that correct?
Correct.
And again, you followed the same procedure that you previously discussed was followed, and a DNA profile was able to be generated?
Yes.
When that profile was generated, was it also determined whether it was a single source profile or a mixture profile?
Yes, it was a mixture.
And for this profile, were you able to determine how many contributors you believed were a part of that mixture?
Yes, the DNA profile was interpreted as a mixture of 2 contributors, including male DNA.
So when you looked at the first item, I guess the first item as it related to the Powerade bottle, the exterior, you were able to look at that profile and you observed that there were 3 contributors on that exterior Powerade bottle, correct?
Yes.
But when you looked at the DNA from the swab of the interior mouth and cap area of the Powerade bottle, there's only 2 contributors. Is that correct?
Correct.
And were you able to compare was there also male DNA found in that profile as well?
There was.
And for the same reasons that you just described?
Yes.
Excuse me. Did you have an occasion to compare the DNA profile generated from the sample of the mouth and interior cap of the Powerade bottle from 108 Central Avenue to the known DNA profile of Leroy Fowler?
I did.
And based on your training and experience, what were your results as it related to that comparison?
The DNA profile is at least 23 septillion times more likely if it originated from Leroy Fowler and an unknown individual than if it originated from 2 unknown unrelated individuals, and this provides support for an inclusion.
And septillion, you said, was with 24 zeros?
Septillion, yes, 1 with 24.
And this was 23 septillion in favor of Mr. Fowler being included as a contributor in that mixture of 2 contributors from the interior mouth, the swab of the mouth and interior cap of the Powerade bottle?
Yes, that DNA profile is at least 23 septillion times more likely.
Did you have an occasion to compare that DNA profile to the known profile of Judy Church?
I did.
And could you just, based on your training and experience, what were the results of that comparison?
The DNA profile is at least 2.3 octillion times more likely if it originated from Judy Church and an unknown individual than if it originated from 2 unknown unrelated individuals, and this provides support for an inclusion.
And we haven't talked about octillion. How big is octillion?
A 1 with 27 zeros after it.
And did you also have an occasion to compare that profile to the known profile of Barbara Randall as well?
I did.
And what were the results based on your training and experience of that comparison?
Barbara Randall is excluded from that DNA profile.
What did you do with your results once you concluded your interpretation?
My interpretation, my report, and my entire case file went through that 2-step review process I spoke of. So it was technically and administratively reviewed. And once that was complete, then the report was issued.
And as part of the report that was issued, your findings that we just described specifically as it related to the 2 items where you were able to generate a profile for potential comparison, the sample of the exterior of the Powerade bottle, and the sample of the mouth and interior. Did you generate a chart depicting those results?
I did not.
Did you put it in a graph form?
Oh, yes, it is. It is in a table.
Table, sorry.
Yes.
If I may approach, Your Honor?
Yes, you may.
Sorry, you said table, right? I'm
Yes,
going to show you a table and ask if you recognize that table.
I do.
Is that the table that was generated depicting the results that we've been talking about as it related to your testing in this case?
Yes.
If this could be marked as the next exhibit, please.
Mr. Narconis,
No objection.
Exhibit 61.
Exhibit 21's not, 61.
With the court's permission, may I publish this as well?
Yes, you may.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as exhibit 61. Let's see. Is it fair to say the item number is depicted on the far left?
It is.
And that's the item number we were talking about, and then the sample description?
Correct.
The third column, the DNA profile description, is that where you were able to document what you testify to in terms of how many contributors you were able to locate within the profile?
Yes.
So for 2-2.2.1, mixture of 3 contributors, and for item 2-2.3.1, a mixture of 2 contributors?
Correct.
And the fourth column, could you describe to the jury what's depicted in that column?
Those are the names of the individuals that were compared to those mixtures.
So fair to say for each of those items, you compared 3 reference comparisons to the DNA profile that you were able to generate from the question sample?
Yes.
And the hypothesis interpretation, this is what you testified to, that the hypothesis for this first item, the exterior of the Powerade sample, hypothesis 1, that Leroy Fowler is included as a contributor, that 9.9 sextillion in favor of the fact that he's included as a contributor.
Correct.
And the same hypothesis for, as it related to the reference comparison of Judy Church, at 36 septillion in favor of hypothesis 1, that Judy Church is included as a contributor into that profile.
Correct.
And that Barbara Randall, when compared as included as a contributor or not included as a contributor, she's excluded as a contributor altogether. Is that correct?
Correct.
And very briefly, as it related to that sample of the mouth and interior cap of the Powerade, again, you compared it to the same 3 reference individuals, correct?
Correct.
And the hypothesis that you looked at is listed next to their names?
Yes.
And as it related to hypothesis 1, that Leroy Fowler is included as a contributor, the statistical weight was that in favor of that hypothesis, that he was in fact a contributor, 23 septillion.
Yes.
And as it related to hypothesis 1, that Judy Church is included as a contributor, 2.3 octillion in favor of that.
Yes.
And again, as it related to Barbara Randall, under both hypotheses, she's actually excluded from the profile.
Yes.
I have no further questions for this witness.
Let's take the morning.
seated.
May I proceed, Your Honor?
Yes, you may, Mr. Nokonis.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
The DNA evolved as a biological science in terms of uniqueness of each individual, right? In other words, DNA deals with the original DNA aspect is something called a genome.
Genome? Yep.
Yep, and mispronunciation, but and there are certain loci on those, certain points on each of those in everybody's body, and those would be somewhat differently for every person, correct? Is a general concept.
Yes. Each person is unique with the exception of an identical twin.
Now, in this particular case, again, when you were asked to make, the determination, on the exterior of the bottle, I think you referenced there could have been as many as 5 profiles, or 5 persons referenced. You said definitely 3 to the exterior of the bottle, right? The mixture?
The mixture is of 3 individuals.
All right. And now, of those, you don't know when it got there, correct?
Correct.
Just because, my body doesn't tell you that, right? It doesn't know how it got there,
Correct.
and it doesn't know how long it's been there.
Correct.
Now, and when those types of issues happen, you move from the biology, basically, to a mathematical probability, right?
We do statistical calculations, yes.
Yeah. Because you can't determine how to take the biology of 3 people, but you know what's there, but you can apply the probabilities based upon the loci numbers that you have, right?
So we do a comparison between the profiles found on the evidence and a reference, and then we calculate a likelihood ratio statistic, and that gives the DNA profile is this many times more likely if it originated from person A than other random individuals.
So when you have 2 people or 1 person, you know definitely it's biology. It's pure. This is you, right? When it's more than that, then the probability aspect comes into it, which is the math application, right?
So there's always statistical calculations, even if the profile was just from a single person. When we do that comparison, we still would calculate a statistic as well.
That's the number in the gazillions, right? There's nobody else on the planet or in the universe that has that match, but you can never say absolutely positively because we've never done every person in the world, right?
That is true.
But when there's more than that, there's mathematical formulas that you apply to see is it more likely and what is the percentage then, correct?
We're calculating a likelihood ratio, but we do a statistic and report it in our report.
And therefore, with the 3 people, you did that type of application, and when there's 2 people, even then you have to do a somewhat similar application, right? It's only when it's single you know what it is, but then you figure out the probability that it's this person here versus anybody else in the world.
So even if it's a single source profile from one individual, we would still calculate the likelihood ratio and provide a statistic in our report to show that that DNA profile is X number of times more likely that it originated from that person versus another.
Again, because everybody in the world hasn't been tested, right?
Correct.
In the aspect of whether it's male or female, that's because the X's and the Y's change for the loci, right?
So there's a sex-determining region in our DNA, and a female has an XX and a male has an XY. So anytime we see an indication of that Y location, that tells us that there's male DNA present.
don't have any further questions, Judge. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Ms. Strasser.
I have no questions, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lundgren. You may step down.
Thank you.
John Haywood.
Right this way. Hi. This is gonna ask you to stand behind the blue line and please accept.
Sir, would you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in the cause now in hearing shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God? Thank you. You may be seated.
Come around, or just yes, yes, you come around. I'm gonna ask you when you set comfortable in that chair. Okay. You can put the chair right up.
Good morning, sir. In a nice loud voice, could you introduce yourself to the jury and spell your last name?
Yeah, it's John Haywood Jr., Heywood.
And sir, how old are you?
52 years old.
And where do you live?
Salisbury, Mass.
How long have you lived in Salisbury, sir?
Overall, I'd say about 35 years on and off.
Okay, born there?
I was born there, then I moved away for a little bit, and now I'm back.
Came back. All right, and we don't need your exact address, but where in Salisbury do you live, sir?
Salisbury Beach.
Okay. And do you work, sir?
Yes, I do.
What do you do for work?
Sheet metal worker,
Okay. How long have you been doing that?
31 years.
All right. Now, sir, I want to take you back to November of 2022, and really even before that. Did you know an individual named Leroy Fowler Sr., sometimes referred to as Big Leroy?
Yes.
Okay. How'd you know Mr. Fowler?
He is my first cousin on my father's side.
Okay. And just for purposes of the questions I'm going to ask you today, there's been some discussion in the trial about his son, Leroy Fowler, as well as his father, also Leroy Fowler, has been mentioned. All the questions I'm asking you today apply to Leroy Fowler Sr., who's about your age.
It's actually Leroy Fowler Jr.
Sorry. Exactly. That's why I made that little announcement. So we're talking about Leroy Fowler Jr., Big
Correct.
Leroy.
Yeah.
All right. So you said that Mr. Fowler was your first cousin?
Yes.
So you guys pretty close in age, so grew up together?
He was about 6, 7 years older than me.
Okay.
As a child, elementary school type, we were kind of close as a family. As we grew older, not so much.
Okay. In the last couple of years of his life, sir, how often would you see Mr. Fowler?
In the summertime, once to twice a month. Not really at all through the winter.
Okay. And were these sort of planned meetings or planned get-togethers, or was just
No.
what were the circumstances under which you would sometimes see
We
Mr.
both
Fowler?
lived on Salisbury Beach, so if I went to a bar or a restaurant, I would usually see him there.
Okay. And did you know a woman named Judy Church?
Yes, I did.
How did you meet Miss Church?
She was dating Leroy.
Okay. And how long had you known Miss Church as of 2022, sir? Give or take.
I'm going to guess since they first got together, so maybe 8 years or so.
Okay. And when you would see Mr. Fowler out and about on Salisbury Beach, would you see Miss Church as well?
Yes, usually.
Okay. And did you ever did you see her by herself as opposed to with Mr.
A couple
Church?
times.
How was your relationship with Mr. Fowler, sir?
Good.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about Miss Church?
Same.
All right.
No issues.
No issues. All right. Now, you said that these meetings that you described for us were generally just happenstance. You just happened to be in the same bar, the same part of the beach as Mr. Church, Miss Church or Mr. Fowler?
Yep.
Did you have any planned meetups that you guys ever
No,
did?
never.
No. Okay. Now, sir, I want to draw your attention specifically to the summer of 2022. Now, during that, during the summer, and I know you don't remember the exact date, did you have occasion to run into Mr. Fowler and Miss Church at one of the bars on Salisbury Beach?
Yes, I did.
What bar was that?
Uncle Eddie's?
Okay. And What kind of a establishment, it's a bar, but what kind of establishment is Uncle Eddie's?
It's considered a dive bar.
Okay. And popular?
Very.
Okay. And did you on one of those one day in the summer of 2022 run into both Mr. Fowler and Miss Church in Uncle Eddie's?
Yes.
Okay. Was it a planned meetup?
No, it's not.
Just happened to be in there at the same time?
Yep.
Okay. And did you have a conversation, interact socially with them while they were in the bar?
Yes. When I saw them, we usually interacted.
Okay. Do you remember what day of the week it was?
It was either a Saturday or a Sunday. I don't.
And how do you remember that?
Because I'm usually away in the summertime. I live up in the mountains for the most part.
Okay.
But I happened to be home that weekend.
Okay. And was it crowded?
Very.
All right. Now, at some point during your interactions with Mr. Fowler and Miss Church that day, did the subject of cheating on a partner or spouse come up?
Yes.
Okay. And what was Miss Church's comment about that sort of activity?
She said, if he ever cheats on me, I will poison him.
Okay. All right. And did the conversation just kind of continue on from there?
Yeah, there was a little more talk afterwards.
Okay. And then, how much longer did you spend socializing with them that day?
If I had to guess the total conversation through the whole time they were there, maybe 3 to 4 minutes.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Nothing further.
Okay.
Who is this witness?
I do, Judge.
Mr. Scully?
Thank you, Your Honor. Morning, sir.
Hello.
My name is Liam Scully. I represent Judy Church.
Okay.
You and I have never spoken or met, right?
No.
Okay. So, you just testified on direct examination that you were present in a bar with Judy and Leroy. You had a good relationship with both of them, right?
Yes.
And the subject of cheating came up, right?
Yes.
And Judy said something like, if he ever cheats on me, I will poison him, right? And Leroy, according to a statement you made previously, Leroy was there and he laughed or smirked or smiled
Correct.
in
He
response,
smirked
right?
and,
Yeah.
tipped his head off the side.
So, and you thought, this is just a joke these two are having, right?
The way it was said and the fact that I knew he had another girlfriend made me uneasy.
Well, okay, you did nothing about it in the time, right?
I told my wife.
Okay, you told your wife, and she said, I didn't hear him say that, right?
Correct. And then I told her again that night.
Yeah. So she was standing next to you.
No.
Wait, listen. She was standing with you, and you asked her, did you hear that? And she said no, right?
No, that's not how it went.
Okay, let me ask you another question, all right? So this statement that now you attribute to Judy Church, you first came forward with this and told law enforcement about this in September 26, 2024.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
Years after the statement was supposedly made, right? There's no recording of this statement, right? There's nothing written in this statement, right?
Excuse me?
There was nothing written down in this about this statement, no text messages.
There was text messages.
Okay.
Me and my family.
Okay, between you and your family.
Yes.
Okay. And were those turned over to the prosecutor?
No.
Okay. So you knew back, well, and it's over 2 years since the time, or just about 2 years since the time that Leroy passed away before you came forward with this statement, right?
Correct.
So this is your first cousin Leroy, right?
Yes, it is.
You spent a lot of time together as children, right?
True.
Playing together, right?
True. Yes.
Family parties.
Yep.
Holidays.
Not so much holidays, but yes.
Okay. You knew him for 50 years and you loved him.
As a relative, yes.
You cared about him.
Yes.
You didn't want anything bad to happen to him.
No.
Okay. And then when he died in November of 2022, did you go to his funeral?
Yes, I did.
And did you go to his wake?
Yes, I did.
And did you express condolences to Tammy Carbone?
Yes, I did.
And did you express condolences to his son Leroy?
Yes.
and express condolences to Michael Hawkins.
I'm not familiar with Michael Hawkins.
You don't know Michael Hawkins as well. You remember seeing somebody, you ever get introduced to him?
I don't recall.
Okay. And Tammy is also your first cousin, right?
Correct.
And so you become aware at that time that Leroy died, and he died of maybe antifreeze poisoning, right?
Correct.
That becomes a known and accepted thing in the family at that time, right?
Yes.
And not long after that, in fact, Judy gets charged as having committed this poisoning, right?
Correct.
Okay. So, and you were aware that the family had been meeting with police officers, right?
I knew from the newspaper that they'd met.
Yeah.
So I know.
And so November 11th, 12th, 13th, Mr. Fowler dies. You don't come forward to the police with this statement about Judy in November. No. December of 2022, you don't come forward with this statement to the police about Judy.
Nope.
Keep it to yourself.
Yes.
A secret.
No, I told my siblings,
Okay.
my mother,
All right.
my wife.
And January, we go to 2023. January, February, March, April, May, June, July.
Mr. Scully, I think we can all do the months. Go ahead.
Yeah, all the way to November of 2023. You don't say anything to law enforcement.
Correct.
The anniversary, first anniversary of Leroy Fowler's passing, his death. November of 2023. There's an ongoing criminal case. Judy Church has been charged, right?
Yes.
It's in the media, right?
If you say so.
Well, is it?
I try not to follow the news or anything.
Okay. Did you know that this case was being covered by the media?
I knew about the case, yes.
Right. And you knew that this would be a difficult time, the 1-year anniversary for Leroy's son, Leroy, and for Tammy, right?
I never crossed my mind.
So November, the 1-year anniversary comes and goes, and you don't say anything to law enforcement.
No.
And then we get to 2024, and I won't count out all the months, but all those months go by, all the way to September 26, 2024, right? Or strike that, September 23rd, 2024, right?
If you say so, I don't know.
You walk into the police and give them a written statement. You remember that?
Yep.
Okay. And that's you coming forward now with this information that all those years ago you were in a bar with Judy and she said, if you cheat on me, I'll poison you, to Leroy.
Correct.
Okay. And when you came forward that day, what inspired you to come forward was the case was in the news again.
It was my sister make me feel very guilty about having knowledge and not saying
The
it.
defense had filed a motion to dismiss based on the
Objection, Judge.
bittering agent.
Objection, Judge.
Just
Objection.
a moment. Just a moment. Come to sidebar, please.
May I rephrase that question, Your Honor?
Yes, you may.
Okay. At the time that you walked into the police station on September 23rd, 2024, to give them this information about this statement that you say Judy made a couple of years prior to that, this case was back in the news due to a number of pretrial proceedings and being covered. And you learned about the proceedings to a degree, right?
No.
No. All right. So you go in on the 23rd, right? And do you remember that to be the day?
Yeah, I don't know the date.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes, you may.
Just gotta get my glasses.
All right. Does that refresh your memory that about the date that you came in to give your statement to the police?
On September 23rd.
2024, right?
Correct.
Okay. Now, the statement about cheating, right? You knew Judy and you knew Leroy, right?
Yes.
And at that time, Leroy wasn't cheating on Judy. Leroy had an open, notorious relationship with Barbara.
I was not aware that Judy knew about it.
Oh, okay. Were you aware of who Barbara was?
I just knew that there was another girl and her name was Barbara.
Okay, all right, all right. So you're not aware that this was just an open triangle?
I am now.
You are now. You learned that during the case?
Yes.
Okay. So, in fact, at that time, Leroy's not even cheating on Judy. He's just having two relationships at one time, whether she likes it or not.
I didn't know that.
Okay. Now, you went to this bar called Uncle Eddie's, right?
Correct.
And you testified on direct examination that you had a good relationship with Leroy at that time, right?
Correct.
And you had a good relationship with Judy at that time.
Correct.
And that in the summer months, because you were all connected to Salisbury Beach, you would see them 1 or 2 times a month on average in various restaurants and bars, right?
Correct.
And they would be coming and going from those bars together.
Yes.
They lived at 108 Central Ave.
They lived on Central Ave, yes.
And that's right near the beach.
Correct.
Is that a walk to the beach?
Yep.
Okay. How close?
Maybe a 4 to 5 minute walk.
Okay, 4 to 5 minute walk. And you would see them on a regular basis, but not on a planned basis during that time, right?
Correct.
And this statement that you now came forward with 2 years later, you say that that occurred on a Saturday or a Sunday, but you don't remember which one, right?
Correct.
And that it occurred in the summer, but you don't remember what date.
Correct.
And that Leroy smirked in response.
Yes.
Okay. No further questions, Adam.
Mr. Committee, anything further?
Just real quick, Judge. Sir, why did you come forward in 2024?
It was the stress. My sister was really getting. When Leroy had passed, I had texted my family about the conversation, and then my sister would get on me now and then, and she has a habit of getting under my skin, and she was really getting on me to come forward and give my statement.
Did you want to be involved?
Not really.
Thank you. Nothing further.
Mr. Scully?
One last question.
Yes, you may.
You were asked, gave the initial walk-in statement on the 23rd, right?
Yes.
And then you conducted a recorded interview that took place on September 26, 2024, a couple of days later, right?
Sure.
And you were asked at that time as well by Trooper Williams why you came forward, and you said it's just best to go in so you have that extra testimony.
There was more to it.
Yeah.
You're reading one sentence.
Well, that's one of the sentences, isn't it?
Is that exact quote? Which one here? Can I read the full quote?
Well, why don't I read it to you, okay? I talked to my family. Some more. They said maybe I should. It's just best to go in, have that extra testimony.
Correct.
That's the exact quote, right?
Correct.
So you came in for extra testimony to pile on in the evidence that was being brought against Judy Church from 2 years prior, didn't you?
I came in because my conscience was getting on me and also to help the case
Right. Extra testimony.
as a witness.
Those are your words.
As a witness, correct.
Nothing further wrong.
Thank you. You may step down.
Oh, Judge, I'm sorry, I do have in response to that.
Okay.
So the full statement about why you came forward was actually more extensive, was it not?
Correct.
You said.
Objection, scope.
Well, it's not beyond the scope. I am allowing, this is a third round of questioning, which I rarely allow, and about the only circumstance I do it is if a statement has come up right at the end and it's an issue of completeness. It's about the only time I allow what is, at this point, redirect. I will give Mr. Scully one more go-around, too, after this, but go ahead, Mr. Camilio.
Thank you. And your full statement was, I was going to come forward initially, and then I saw through the papers like the evidence and stuff, and nobody really wants to get involved in a murder case. So, and then Trooper Williams says, yeah, and you replied, I told like my family and stuff, but it's been eating at me for the past few weeks. And Trooper Williams asked, is there any reason the past few weeks? And you said, I don't know, I really don't know. Is that a more accurate and complete
Yes.
description? Thank you.
Mr. Scully.
Extra testimony to help the case, to help the guy you love who's gone, Leroy Fowler, right?
That's part of the quote.
Yeah. And that's what you were doing.
That is one part of a long quote.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Thank you. Now you may step down.
Thank you.
Mr. Camilio.
Judge, we are ready to go back to the defendant's statement if this is a good time to do that for the court.
It is. That's fine. That's fine. We, if I understand, just by happenstance, I think according to Ms. Strasnick, we ended up stopping that recorded interview, the second recorded interview you're hearing with respect to Ms. Church, at almost exactly to the second, the halfway point through that interview. Is that correct, Ms. Strasnick?
That's correct. I couldn't plan it if we tried.
So we just happened to stop right at the halfway point. So we have half of that interview left to be played. And I told you we would play it, but you'll recall we suspended the playing so we could ensure that we completed the testimony of Sergeant Williams. So now we'll get back to playing the second half of that interview. And this is exhibit, what's the thumb drive exhibit?
48, Your Honor.
48?
Yep, and we're going to pick up at 4633, which is where we stopped.
Could I have one moment just to get organized on that, Judge?
Yes, you may. Before we start playing it, you mean?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, we're ready to proceed.
Oh, yep. All right. Yep. I'm just gonna-
He's then,
There we go.
he's at Mount Auburn, and then kind of, can you walk me through what's the proxy issue? Is it just the official documents not there? Because I know, like, legally, I'm gonna pause on how proxy works. Because even, like, if you were married, would you automatically be his proxy? Or do you need,
I don't,
you might need,
truthfully, you're right, I'm
I
not
don't really
sure.
know if it's like, as soon as, you know, if it's like next to kin, like legal next to kin gets it all, or if there has to be a form. But you got, basically, you didn't have a form saying you're a proxy, so therefore you couldn't interject.
Yeah, but on all of his paperwork, my name is there.
Yeah, I know.
So,
Hospitals can be tough.
I get it, everybody has to cover their ass.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, somebody needs to cover their ass because how did it tank from there? So so at 1:45, I call the hospital again, knowing dialysis takes a few hours. I don't really know what the process is.
What time?
1:45
AM or?
a.m.
AM,
I
okay.
was Saturday now.
Yeah.
And they said it didn't need dialysis, that his acid levels are normal, see that he had a high elevated acidity in his blood. And they
I don't know what that means, but
well, your blood has
no, I know.
a
But
pH balance of alkaline and acid, and it needs to be on a balance. Or
did you used to teach science or something?
no, I do.
Yeah, we didn't even touch that. What grade did you teach? Fourth grade? Sorry.
No, I'm Dr. Google. I look everything up, and
on Google.
you know, I look up all his symptoms, and you know, try. I've told him more so than anybody else what's actually wrong with him.
Yeah. I use. Have you ever heard of DuckDuckGo?
No.
Oh, it's a search engine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Sorry.
That's all right. And so they tell me he doesn't need dialysis. Good.
Because his blood was better.
His the acidity was normal. His potassium was coming down. And what was the other thing? And that, you know, he'd be off the ventilation in the morning. Now that all sounds wonderful to me.
Yeah.
Good.
And I wrote it all down because I wanted to give that information to Tammy and Leroy.
Yep. Okay.
And I did.
Yep.
You know, visiting hours were from 1 to 8. I'm going to go sit with him. Blah, blah, blah. And, and then I called the hospital at 10 too, around 10 a.m. And she said, yep, everything's okay. He's okay. But the doctors are making their rounds this morning. Right?
Is this 10 a.m. Saturday or Sunday?
Saturday.
Saturday.
Oh, well, let me think.
Yeah.
Because we saw you
He's
Saturday.
at Mount Auburn. Yeah.
Yeah, so we saw you with the pizza.
You saw me Sunday.
So that's why.
Okay.
No, we see you Saturday. Now you're good now. Yeah, we saw you Saturday. So you're talking about. So basically, before we get to the 10 a.m., I'm assuming that was Sunday. So then you left.
No, 10 a.m. was Saturday, before I left for the hospital.
Oh yeah, because it's Anna Jake's Friday, Mount Auburn Friday, Saturday, 10 a.m. Mount Auburn. Okay.
Right. So.
Yep. So you haven't seen us at this point.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I called this around 10 and they said that the doctors were making their rounds, you know, but he's okay. And she called back in an hour, and I said, well, you know, in an hour I'll be driving there for visiting hours, so I'll talk to the doctors then. And somewhere between that amount of time, I guess, Leroy took proxy away, and I've been left in the dark.
Oh, son Leroy took proxy away. Okay, so he became the proxy guy. And then you left the hospital, came, talked to us. You've been in the dark since you talked to us. Okay.
Well, no, I'm not going to say that. I texted little Leroy, and he kept me informed, I suppose. And it just was all awful. It was nothing that compared to what I thought I left
Yeah.
in a hospital.
I remember talking to you. It seemed like, because even when I was talking to you, you were like, why are you talking to me? He's going to be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got that vibe.
I mean, wouldn't you have heard that as good news?
Yeah.
Things all doing what they should, not that your organs are shutting down.
Yeah, I wonder if, because obviously that day when we talked to the hospital, Lisa, I got the vibe that it could take a turn for the worse. I don't know. I don't want to speak on the hospital's behalf. I wonder if it's your family. Nobody wants to go to someone and say, especially because what if they're wrong and he pulls through and they're like, well, why did we say all this to her?
Right.
So I don't want to speak on their behalf. I'm making an assumption before I did that. Okay, so that's Saturday, and then who notified you that he passed away?
His son.
So was it? Okay, so Leroy has still talked to you. He hasn't been
Yes.
jamming you.
And I gave him the whole story. I texted him the whole thing. It's the truth as I know it, and it can't change. I mean, I'm not making any facts or facts.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, and then it's Monday, so you got so on Sunday. Did you go back to the hospital? at all? Because he passed away Sunday night.
No.
Okay, so you were home Sunday, and then he passed away Sunday night. Okay, so is there anything then? And I know we just spent a lot of time talking about the timeline of 72, and then basically 72 hours after the incident. So we went over like 6 days. So I'm sure I missed something. Is there anything from Wednesday to basically now that I didn't ask you that you think I should know, or like an event that, like Wednesday, you're like, oh, I couldn't really remember what happened. Like, did anything pop into your head while you were talking about anything I didn't ask you during that whole time frame? No? Okay.
I don't know. Probably.
Yeah, I'm positive too. How are you doing right now with the news of Leroy, obviously?
I'm in shock.
Yeah.
Man was my world. And I think his family is shutting me out. And
What makes you think that?
I don't know, just
'Cause I know you said you talked to him.
I texted Tammy, they're not replying, they're not really, and little Leroy is still, I'm confused. I told him I don't know what to do. And, I need to have my grieving process too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The man loved me.
Yes. Yeah.
I have his medical history that you could fill this room with.
Can you get, because I remember you saying Anna Jakes is like normal for him because of the pacemaker. So I'm interpreting his medical history as, I'm assuming he has a heart issue, he has a pacemaker. Is there anything else that's like you said bipolar, possible drug use, smoking, and a pacemaker, so his heart. Is there any other part of his body that you worry about?
All of it. I mean,
Or like, I guess,
always.
I think I misphrased that. Is there any other reason that he goes to the hospital? Like, how frequently does he go to the hospital to Anna Jakes? Is that like a once every 6 months?
He doesn't go to Anna Jakes. His heart doctor is in Newington.
Okay.
And he hates Anna Jakes.
Yeah.
I actually was saying to the ambulance guy, don't take him to Anna Jakes.
Okay. Is there a reason why he hates Anna? Just not.
You go into Anna Jakes, you come out, you're dead. That's his history of Anna Jakes.
Is he on any, I should have asked earlier, any prescription medication for his heart?
Yeah, so I got a whole
Do you know? Oh, so a lot of stuff. Do you know any of them off the top of your head? I know there's like.
I can throw up the list.
How many would you say prescriptions he has? Like 10? Can you list them while you're doing that?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm looking. I put all his medicine in the Monday, Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can list him. He takes some Mesprazole for his GERD, heartburn.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He had now I won't be able to. Atorvastatin he takes. Lisinopril, Carvedilol, if I'm saying it right. I give him a baby aspirin. And he has gabapentin. He doesn't take it all the time. One of his legs get restless.
Okay.
And I think that's it.
Okay.
Did you check those pills like recently? Had he been taking them regularly?
Yeah.
Was there a chance he took too many the wrong day?
No, he did. Yeah.
Okay. But he didn't double up by accident?
No.
Like Saturday, Sunday?
I don't think even if he did, I took some in the morning and forgot, took some at night, I don't think there's anything in there that's going
to have to take a lot. I guess on that topic, I know we had suicidal ideations, thoughts, statements, attempts, nothing like that.
No.
He seems like a happy-go-lucky guy based on how you describe him. Kind of goes to the beat of his own drum, but
he was happy.
Happy overall. Okay. Do you have any other questions about that timeline?
Other than the orange soda. See, I'm wondering if something he took could have caused this, like the blood Percocets. Did you look around for that canister at all?
No.
Since after?
Oh yeah.
No, I haven't.
Oh yeah. We were saying we would.
I haven't even touched that one.
Okay.
Any other food, drink that could have, like,
I guess allergies.
something like
So they
that? What
had
caused him to?
He didn't have allergies.
All right. Because I did
Was he
listen to the.
throwing up at all?
He said that he wanted to throw up that morning.
When did he say
Thank
that?
you for saying that, because it just, I think about it and, he said he wanted to throw up and he would cough and, some spittle would come out on the floor. This is when he's, stumbling around.
Okay. So I did listen to the 911 tape, and I actually did hear you say you don't take them to Antijakes. And when they were trying to, I don't think they.
I don't think they have a choice, really.
Yeah, I should contact him the closest.
You did say you thought he ingested something. So what made you think he ingested something?
Because I don't have a conversation that seems normal at 4 and to he's legless.
All of a sudden, yeah. So just that was like the common sense.
Something.
Like.
And that I had seen it before, back in 2019.
Okay. Do you have any other questions about that timeline? Is there anything that popped into your head, like he just said throw up? Like, is there anything that popped in your head while we were talking?
No.
So anything earlier in the week? Was he vomiting? Was he nauseous at all? Like leading up to that?
No.
Or you had said the other day he was like leaning against the wall to catch his breath while he was working.
Oh yeah, he felt
Did he get dizzy?
dizzy. Mm-hmm.
And how long was this happening? Was it just Thursday?
No.
Every day?
Yeah, he'd be dizzy a lot, and I thought he was anemic, and I thought, gotta cook him up some red meat.
Yeah.
He complained about a month ago about the urine. And I told him he gotta drink more water. Oh, that's the other thing I did. I gave him water. I took him a sip of water. I said, "You're dehydrated." I was thinking his behavior might be presenting as dehydrated. I took a sip and I don't want any more of that.
Well, he was on the floor or in the bathroom or
No, in the bed.
in bed.
Mm-hmm.
Before or after the fall?
Before.
Before the fall. Okay. Oh yeah. See, that's why we ask questions. I keep thinking of things. You mentioned carbon monoxide. In the base.
Well, that is what happens when your body expels that the carbon monoxide caused from the acid in your body. So it's elevated. That's what part of that whole.
Is that what they said at Antijakes?
Mm-hmm.
Body might have a higher.
Yeah.
Oh, so
Not that carbon monoxide was the cause, but anything was worth looking into. I even told little Leroy last night. He kept saying there's an unknown toxin in his blood. And he said it wasn't Perks, it wasn't Coke, it wasn't, I don't know, whatever else it could have been. And it's an unknown. And I guess everybody wants to know what the unknown is, and so don't I. And then I said, well, he cleaned out the basement and he crawled up under the cottage. There was obviously evidence of critters. And maybe because I've heard, rat poop, you smell it, you can die.
It's nasty stuff.
And so I mentioned that. I mean, that could have been it. And he got back to me and he said, no, the doctors, he's already gone, his brain dead.
When was he cleaning out the basement area you showed us?
Mm-hmm.
What day was that?
Thursday,
the day before. He was cleaning out the basement area.
Mm-hmm.
And then you were thinking that, so the doctor told you about carbon monoxide, is that why?
Right. Well, I think I Googled it, and I said, what is he expelling? That's why he says that told me that was another good thing. That his body's expelling the carbon monoxide.
So
caused from the acid in his pH.
That's why you thought possibly the basement if it had.
Yeah.
But you and your son never felt like any
No.
effects of anything.
No.
Do you still think that that could be a thing? That like the basement could have carbon monoxide?
I'm certainly looking into it, and
Okay.
I'm calling it.
His little room is right above that too, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Okay.
And so, and then I thought in the back room there, in the ceiling, there's mold. I said, "Could maybe it's mold?" And I'm throwing out there at every possible.
It's all stuff you breathe in, so.
Right.
When he told you he fell a couple times, what was your reaction? Were you surprised by that?
Yeah, I was actually.
Did you
I
ask him to
asked him.
explain it?
I asked him if he was okay. Well, that's really, he made it to the bedroom.
When he said
I
like
said,
fell,
"Look."
what do you picture in your head? Like just standing up and like
Stumbling.
or like kind of like unsteady.
I didn't hear it, so it couldn't have been like the like the noise created when he was around the room. No.
Sorry. I was listening. What you just say?
Just about him stumbling and falling.
Okay, sorry.
So I was like practically
Rat poop, yeah.
You're just clutching at straws. To think.
Like, yeah, I mean, I've heard of actually pigeon feces. You can get it's something in your lungs. It's I know a firefighter that it happened to. It can cause some like disease. I heard the term. Okay. All right. So, do you have anything else on the timeline? No. Once again, anything that's like because things are popping in.
Well, as they do pop up, I will, definitely call you.
I my business. But so I'll let you know too. Kind of extension on here. No, it's not. Okay, so I do know. So obviously we've been doing our well, he's been on it since Friday. I was notified Saturday. Death investigations, what we do, but. We have been able to talk to the hospital, and we have preliminary results of what that toxin could be, and antifreeze was detected in his system. So that's what the preliminary results are. We need to wait till the official lab results come back. But we talked to the doctor. That's what is preliminarily determined to be in his blood. So that's why I was asking you about like suicide, things like that. Trying to figure out like how that could have got in his blood.
I don't even know if we had antifreeze at the house.
Okay.
Sometimes cleaners, windshield washer fluid.
True. Yeah. Sorry. I think I interpreted like like it's a preliminary test result. It's not like the lab result came back and said antifreeze, just preliminary. So take it with a grain of salt when I say antifreeze, but something like I guess like maybe like a cleaner or a toxin or something.
So you're thinking he drank this himself?
Homemade alcohol.
I'm trying to figure out how he could have
like moonshine stuff, like something like that.
Like you said, he had. I don't know. I don't want to. It's your loved one, so I don't want to ever imply anything. But you said you saw him drinking orange soda in the morning, and I'm just thinking. I have to have an open mind as a detective, so I'm just thinking. Well, he was drinking something in the morning. Could that have been in there? And I'm not implying your loved one was suicidal. I'm not saying that. I'm just trying to. That's why I kind of danced around it. But I'm trying to piece together how. I'll say at least a liquid toxin, maybe not antifreeze, because you don't officially know what it is. How that could have got in his blood. Like, could you ever see him? I guess doing that? Would that even make sense? No. Okay. Does he drink his orange soda? Like, is it something where he's like popping a can, so it's not like it could have been he...
Right out of the can.
Oh, okay. So the soda's out of the pitcher. And you didn't drink... Because I'm assuming if that's what it is and it got in this, you had to have drank it. I'm assuming you don't eat. Unless you drink it direct from, like, the bottle. But you said you don't even have antifreeze in the house. Or... something of that nature. I'm not like an expert.
I'm not an expert on toxins either, but things would be under the sink.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be things out in the back. He likes to fix bicycles.
Yeah.
But I don't know if there's any toxins in that.
And you kind of now me telling you I know that you don't see him doing that. That's
No,
the thing. Okay.
no, not ever. He kind of likes himself, you know, he's a,
Okay.
you know, he's a private man, he's a proud man,
Yeah.
likes his world to be his own world, you know, and not fodder for the rumor mills.
Okay.
So just
Yeah.
knowing that about him, it would be just total opposite.
Of what he would
To
do.
drink
To
something.
just like do something like that.
Right.
Okay, because yeah.
But then he said to me, I'm going to die. Which is fun, which is odd. Like I said, he usually says, you're killing me. You laugh about it.
Do you know what he drank out of that morning? Does he pour it in a cup or anything? Or like there could be.
No, the can's still sitting in the little rack there. Or a can of orange soda, I'm
Okay.
assuming.
What do you mean by like a little rack?
Well, he puts up a little thing so you can, like
Good shelf.
it's like a.
Is it in his like bedroom area or the kitchen?
In the back room.
In the back room he has a little rack.
Right,
And
so
he
we
put and he put his orange soda there. Okay. And that's in a can. So yeah, I don't want to imply that he did anything to himself, but I'm just trying to like
for mistake.
Yeah.
It could have been something leaked on something.
But even if there's not antifreeze even in the house, so it's like, could he have any in his truck?
And he could have cleaned out the van that day.
But you keep saying the van. There's a trailer in front of the house.
Yes, and his black truck,
So where's the van?
right in the driveway.
Yeah, when I'm looking at the house from the street, is the driveway left or right?
From the street, right.
Right, okay, so there's a van there. I didn't
Yeah.
know that was your parking area. Okay. Okay, so we've also been told that Leroy in the past has thought that he's been being poisoned by somebody and he doesn't feel good and it's been an issue. So we're trying to piece together how he feels that way and that he has what they determine to be antifreeze in his system.
Okay. I don't know how this antifreeze in his system.
Okay.
I make him coffee fraps. And yeah, he's a bad boy, you know, he cheats on me and stuff.
Yeah.
And one day I bring him his frap and he says, "You're not trying to poison me, are you?" You know, I laughed, took a sip of it myself.
Yeah.
You know, but it was kind of an ongoing joke between us. And
When was that?
I don't know, a year, 2 years ago?
Oh, so he's been going with this joke for a while then.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, just us fooling around that,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Like right that, Wednesday, we watched a lot of true crime, because now that's popping into my head.
Yeah.
He says, when I get to Florida, I think I'll become a serial killer.
Okay.
And so I just keep looking at him, you know, like, you know, but you wouldn't kill me.
Yeah.
You know? And, you know, he just had this look in his face, like, you know, yeah, I'm going to become a serial killer. He met Eileen Mornos.
I don't know.
She killed men down in Florida.
Oh.
And because he was homeless down there way back when. And she told him, "You're a good kid, get out of here, you don't belong here." Said killing him.
Really?
Yeah.
Eileen who?
Warnos.
Warnos? She was serial killer?
She was assassinated. Well, I mean, executed. Electrocuted.
Oh, so she was back.
She was a serial killer, and she got the death sentence. So anyway, so it was a story on TV, and he just gets this idea in his head.
Yeah, so
You know,
maybe
but
active
we, you know, and I look at him like, and he'd just be, everyone, you know, I'd be watching TV, and every time I look over, he'd be staring at me, you know, giving me a look like.
What channel does he watch true crime on?
I think it's called True Crime.
Is that the channel? Oh, okay. I use like Netflix, so I'll be honest, I don't really watch TV anymore. So there's a channel called True Crime and he watches true crime. Do you like true crime?
once in a while I watch them. I call them the murder shows. You watching the murder shows?
Do you relate more to detectives or to the serial killers like he does?
Oh, I don't want to know anything about the serial killer. I like the process.
Yeah, I think that, yeah, because that was surprising you said he relates to the serial killer. I feel like most people watch it to, like, see what the detectives do and the legal, and how they solve the crime, as opposed to, I guess that'd be the opposite thing. So, I'm just trying to piece it together. If the test results do come back that it is antifreeze, is there any enemies of Leroy? Is there anyone that you could see doing this? Anyone that would have the ability to do it?
Well, there's Barbara. She's batshit crazy.
Okay. Would she have, like, the motive or drive to do that? Like,
Yeah, because he leaves, he comes back to me. He always comes home to me. I don't talk to her. I don't want to see her. I don't even want to bump into her. She's just evil incarnate.
Evil in what?
Incarnate.
Oh, incarnate. Okay.
She's just presents. She's, she has all her little minions that do things for her. And I'm like, what? Doesn't anybody have their own brain? Can't they think for themselves? And I'm not just saying that because I hate her. I know there's all kinds of drugs being sold in and out of that house.
Could you see her, I guess, I know you love Leroy. Right? So did she, like, love him, or was she just kind of, like, he was like a side piece to her, and, like, you could see me?
I think she loved him too.
Okay.
If evil can love.
Yeah. What did you think about Florida? Like, did Leroy talk about her?
And she just
you guys are going to be moving down there.
Right.
Did he ever talk about her in regards to Florida? Like,
No,
I'll never see her again. I don't care.
He would say things like that to me. I got to get out of here. He kept saying, I got to get out of here.
But he never mentioned how she felt about it to you. Because obviously, you wouldn't be around her anymore. You say that
Right.
she's pissed off. Like,
Right.
Did he ever say that he told her?
I guess I can't really answer the question. I don't know.
Not sure. You never
No,
know.
it's speculating.
But he never said that to you.
Let's put it this way. At her house, I'm probably the CUNT word.
Yeah.
And at my house, she's the CUNT word.
Yeah.
So,
Does he kind of not bring her up around you?
yeah, he will every once in a while. Mostly it's because she's, as dumb as a bag of rocks. Thinks she knows everything. Thinks she's, knows Leroy's father and Leroy's father issues. And, these people are past dead before he even met this woman. And how do you know these things? And, but she was very manipulative, and she'd do anything to have him back.
So you could see her being capable of.
I'd be the one being poisoned, you know what I'm saying?
So would you not see her being capable of doing something to this to Leroy? I know you said maybe you, but could you see her doing that to Leroy?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And so if we found antifreeze in your house,
Okay.
right? What would you say if we found your fingerprints on the antifreeze?
It wouldn't be.
It wouldn't be. Okay.
Nope. Unless I bought it, but I don't even remember buying antifreeze.
Right.
Anyway,
If
you
you
need
did, what-
antifreeze for?
It's your car.
Is it in your radiator?
Yeah,
Keep things from freezing?
Yeah, we live in New England. It's November.
I mean,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah, and it,
all
and
right.
it prevents freezing.
Well, usually that, if I get an oil change, don't they do stuff like that?
Okay, so there wouldn't be
So
any antifreeze in your house. Your
No.
fingerprints wouldn't be on the antifreeze.
Motor oil bottles, any of that.
That's
not
more
my-
like Leroy buys that type of stuff.
Mhm.
These are hypothetical
It's okay,
questions.
yes.
I'm not saying I have your fingerprints on an antifreeze bottle in your house. I'm not
right.
saying I'm sitting here.
Right.
I've been in your house today for like 30 seconds. I'm
Right,
not saying
just like you wouldn't find,
Yeah.
his fingerprints on a pot or a pan.
Yeah. Alright. So these are just hypothetical questions that I'm asking. Can you understand like where we're coming from? Like obviously why we have to ask these questions. I understand it's uncomfortable. You know.
I want answers.
Yes.
I'm
And
just.
the family wants answers. Everybody wants answers, and like I said, I know it's preliminary test results of some toxin. So who knows? But until the final results come back, I mean,
Take the can of orange that's still sitting. I haven't touched that.
Yeah.
I stand there saying, I know I gotta look for that little container, but.
Do you have any questions for me right now?
You prepared his food, did you put anything in it?
Did I put
Did you
anything?
put any poison in his
No.
food or drinks?
No, I didn't.
So you tell me you did not poison him?
I did not poison him. I loved him. I wouldn't harm a hair on that man's head.
You weren't upset that he's bouncing back and forth between you and Barbara?
It upsets me, but, he comes home to me. He loves me. We have the future, the plan.
Has he ever been sick before, like, just not feeling good
No.
around you?
No, he's usually,
Do you have to take care of him at all?
well, rub his back hurting.
When was that? Like, what was that?
If he asked me to rub his back?
I know, but
How would I
are
take
you
care
thinking of
of
a
him?
specific, like, example?
No, we just. Ask your question
Have you
again.
ever had to, like, take care, like, he's feeling sick or ill?
I take care of him.
I know, like, when has that happened?
He's never ill. He's hardly ever ill.
Okay.
I've never heard the man throw up in my life.
Is there any reason why Leroy's family would say that you were poisoning him? Because I know you mentioned you went right to the coffee drink. Or no, is it a milkshake? Is it ice cream or something?
Coffee, ice cream, milkshake.
Coffee, ice cream, frappe. So
I said
Why
that to
would it- why
Tammy
would
the
they-
other day, just the other day, and that's why they got it in their head. It was a joke
okay,
between Leroy and I.
okay.
He's always saying, they know how much I love them.
Yep.
So,
I have to ask the questions.
because that's fresh in her mind.
So that's-
I've done something.
Did you tell her that on the phone or like text or talk? You talked to her in person?
Um,
Well, not in person.
I was talking.
Okay, so you think that got in her head? Because did you tell her that? When did you tell her that? What date was that?
Thursday.
Was that Friday?
Friday.
Oh, Friday.
But he was already in the hospital?
Yes.
Okay, all right. And then was that Friday morning, afternoon, night?
Well, it was when I got home, because I didn't tell anybody anything. It's probably what Leroy would have wanted me to do until I had some answers.
Yeah, get the facts.
And so I got home around 6:30. They intubated him around 6. I never knew, it's not like on TV, they stick a hose down your throat. They actually stop you from breathing.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
They give you a medicine. And I was in the room and I heard them talking, give him 100 or 125. And they said because of his size, give him 125. I didn't know what they were talking about. And the nurse said, and this whole tray of stuff in preparation. And when I heard that his heart, they stop your heart, I just went whoop in a full-blown panic attack. And I had to leave and I went out to the waiting room. I left my bag there, so I had to call. Can somebody just bring me my bag so I can go home?
So you think then Tammy just has it in her head because of the joke? How did that conversation come up? Because obviously I'm going to ask Tammy about that. How did that conversation come up with Tammy? What brought you to mention the coffee frap?
I don't know. I know there was something, but I don't know.
Okay.
I think we were just talking in general.
Were you talking about? Well, actually, it must have been no. Because did you say you told the family later that day because you wanted to wait to get the facts? You must have told them, that night. Mm-hmm. So was that then like your first phone call to Tammy? Like, hey, Leroy's in the hospital,
Yes.
blah 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 blah, talking about all this stuff.
Right.
I'm assuming you talked for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Not like I'm sure that wasn't like a quick.
No, we talked
1 minute phone call.
We talked quite a bit, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And then the coffee milkshake comes up, that's in her head now. Yeah.
But we did. I know there was a reason.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there had to have been some reason. Was she trying to figure out? I mean, was she asking the questions like we asked? Like, did he eat something? Did he drink something? Did he take drugs? Like, I mean, because I'm assuming if that was me, I would have a million questions.
I don't remember the conversation. I do remember saying that to her though, so that's in her head. But surely, they can't think that's true.
Okay.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I've done everything for that man in the name of love. Everything. To want him dead?
Yeah.
No. Never.
Why would Leroy be telling his family that you're poisoning him? I know you kind of said it's the true crime.
Because he's a little fucking pissant liar, is what he is.
Does his brain kind of implied at the shows?
He thinks he's a genius and he talks like a dope.
Okay, so you think he's basically just fabricating that?
Yes, he's fabricating because he wants answers. And
no, sorry, Leroy Senior.
Oh my.
Sorry, yes.
Oh God, no.
Sorry, no, time out. Sorry, let me back up. There's two Leroys.
Yes, I know.
Completely understand. Because when you were answering that, I was surprised.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Sorry. So Leroy, I'll say Senior. Why would he tell his family that he thinks you're poisoning him?
I don't know. I don't know the context of the conversation. It could be. And he said me that I was.
Yes.
I can't answer that. I can't even tell you why he would say something like that.
Okay. I know he told his family that when he's at your place and when he leaves, he feels better when he leaves, and he thinks that you're poisoning him with the coffee milkshakes. He's told his family members that. I'm asking why Leroy Senior would say that, not Leroy Junior.
I don't know.
Because I'll be honest with you, I've spoken to Tammy, I've spoken to Bill, I've spoken to Leroy, I've spoken to Mike Hawkins. Obviously, I've spoken to you. I haven't spoken to Barbara yet, but I've been working this ever since I got the call. And what if I told you that right now we are doing a search warrant on your house, like I told you in the lobby, and there is antifreeze in your kitchen?
I don't know anything about it. You won't find my fingerprints on it.
Do you know why there'd be antifreeze in your kitchen?
Do I know why there would be? No.
Because I know with me, I usually, I have gasoline for my lawnmower. I leave it in the shed though.
I don't know. I don't know why Leroy would say that.
He told it to Michael Hawkins, and then the sister, Tammy, is also aware of it.
Yeah. If you're looking to me to be the bad guy, they're putting the blame on me, and they're just going to focus on me, and it isn't me.
Do you think there's antifreeze in his system?
I don't know. No, why would I? Why would he drink it? As I told you, the man loves himself.
I
don't know what else to say. I really don't. That floors me.
Have you ever seen the antifreeze in the kitchen before? If we just found, and this isn't an if, we just found antifreeze in your kitchen. So have you ever seen antifreeze in your kitchen? So you weren't aware that it was that it was there?
No.
Is it typical to keep those types of items in the kitchen?
I wouldn't put antifreeze in the kitchen.
Did Leroy Leroy put any, like, did he store anything in the kitchen?
You saw my kitchen, correct?
No, I did,
It's
yeah.
a mess, and where things are being put, could be willy-nilly at this point. But I don't even know what a bottle of antifreeze looks like, first of all.
Okay.
I would never store it under my sink where I put my, regular cleaning utensils and rags and things. It wouldn't be my choice, so.
When you make the coffee shakes for him, how are they blended?
On a ninja machine?
If we took the Ninja machine and tested it, would there be antifreeze in it?
No.
Okay. What about the dish towels? If we tested those, would that have antifreeze on them?
No.
From washing the dishes or anything?
Antifreeze? Oh, no.
Yeah, like
no.
you clean something and then it transfers on to the dish towels and then you test it and it comes back.
No. Shouldn't be.
Can you understand the questions I'm asking?
Yes,
from
I am.
my point of view,
I understand.
as somebody who doesn't know you and Leroy through a hole in the wall.
Right.
I just met you on Saturday.
Right.
And like I said, my job is to facts are facts,
Mm-hmm.
and I talk to everyone. I know you said the family wants to pin it on you and just make you the bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
That's not how I do my job.
Mm-hmm.
I don't just look for the easy out. I leave no stone unturned. I look everywhere,
Mm-hmm.
and then whatever the facts are, the facts, essentially. Do you have any questions for him?
How do you usually make one of his fraps? What goes into it?
Just coffee ice cream, milk, and coffee syrup.
Coffee syrup. So you don't buy like coffee ice cream? It's just
Coffee ice cream.
Oh, and there's extra coffee syrup that goes in.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of coffee syrup do you usually use? Is it?
It begins with an A. It's a big bar. It's on the counter.
You buy it just from the supermarket, Walmart, something?
Market Basket.
Market Basket. Which aisle do they sell that in? Is it with like the dessert stuff?
No, I think it's like where syrup is. Like a
With maple syrup?
Maple syrup.
Okay. Or like chocolate syrup and like strawberry, like chocolate milk stuff?
Mm-hmm.
So with your phone, we are going to search it. That was in the warrant. So are we going to find anything about search histories on antifreeze or messages about antifreeze, and why would those be there?
No.
No. Can we have your passcode for your phone?
Mm-hmm.
What's your passcode?
5896.
You know Leroy's password for his phone?
No.
Did he use, was it numbers or did he use like a design?
I don't know. He was very private about his phone because obviously,
When you said you Google a lot, is that on your phone or do you have a laptop?
on my phone.
On your phone.
Do you have like an iPad or like a tablet, just the phone?
Yeah.
Do you have a Gmail account?
Mm-hmm.
What's your email?
Church Judy 99 at gmail.com.
Is there any relevance to 99?
No, it was just a number that popped up. No.
So just, Leroy was with you for a few days before Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Something happens, he goes to the hospital, they find antifreeze in it.
Mm-hmm.
It had to get there somehow. So, how did it get there?
I don't know.
Do you think when we test his drinking containers that we will detect antifreeze in it?
Maybe. If you're telling me he ingested it,
I'm saying preliminarily.
but my hands will not be on that can.
Okay.
Well, actually, because I put them in the fridge.
Yes.
Do you recognize this?
Yeah.
What is it?
Just one of my notebooks.
Is it like a diary or?
It's got a lot of things on it. A mixture of things.
How are you, like, coping with him leaving and going to Barbara's? Does that drive you crazy? Do you get upset when he goes? So say he goes for.
Yes, I get upset. Of course I get upset. But I don't do anything about it. He comes home and, he has little ways of making it up to me, and everything's fine again. You know, we're happy and laughing, and no, I don't.
The time now is 5:36. I'm going to end the interview. Okay. I have my card on here, which I didn't have the other day. My extension is 5013.
Okay.
Obviously, we'll give you a ride back to your house. I'm not trying to attack you. We have other people we need to talk to, but it's just, you know, part of the job, I guess. Can you coordinate a ride for her back?
Absolutely.
It's just incredible timing, once again.
Judge, the only thing that I have, we can.
Do you have additional witnesses for today?
Well, I do not have any additional witnesses for today. I did want to read a couple of things from those two notebooks that got mentioned right at the end of the interview.
Did you say you do or do not have additional witnesses?
No, I do not. I'm sorry.
Oh, so the witnesses have finished for today?
Yeah, as we discussed yesterday, the medical examiner is the remaining witness.
That I was aware of. I just didn't know if we had completed the rest of the witnesses.
Yep.
All
So
right,
the only thing that I wanted to do today was to read a couple of excerpts from the notebooks that were just mentioned in the video. I can do it in the morning, or I can do it right now. Take about 3 minutes.
Why don't we just do that in the morning? We have plenty of time tomorrow. But let me just see counsel actually just about scheduling generally at Sidebar, so I can give the jury a sense of what tomorrow will look like. Because it looks like you're. All right. As things stand, I expect the Commonwealth will call the medical examiner tomorrow morning, and then we'll rest. The defense witnesses who will then follow tomorrow. It may be a day much like today where we don't make use of the whole day, again, because there's a couple of defense witnesses who are likely to be called who are not available tomorrow, not available until Friday. The way things stand is there is some prospect of us going to closing arguments on Friday. That is, all the evidence having been completed. I expect all the evidence will be completed by sometime Friday. Depending on when that occurs determines whether we have time and it's appropriate to continue the closings and jury instructions, because those have to come together. I don't like to separate them, or whether we have to do that on Monday morning. So that's a little bit up in the air right now. But I will see how tomorrow goes. It's possible we'll push into the afternoon depending on how lengthy the witnesses are. But knowing that we've got the medical examiner and then two defense witnesses, I won't be surprised if it's much like a day like today where you're going at this hour. I know this is so uncertain that it doesn't really help you plan in your daily lives as to what you can do, and I'm sorry for that. We're doing the very best we can. If that is frustrating to you, please don't take it out on the parties or the lawyers who represent them, although nothing's ever really my fault. Direct your frustration at me. I can take it, and truly, and I say that in all sincerity, direct your frustration at me and not at the other folks in this room. So, with that, jurors, until we see each other tomorrow morning, please don't discuss the substance of this case with anyone, including, among yourselves, and please don't allow yourselves to see, read, hear, or overhear anything from any outside source about this case. And who knows, maybe tomorrow morning will be the first day I don't greet you with a hacking cough. I'm going to be optimistic about that. See you tomorrow morning, folks.
All right.
We'll stay in session for just a moment. Mr. Scully, you said there was a logistics issue?
Yes. So one of our witnesses tomorrow is one of the, not Zoom, but court closed camera, Zoom type of appearances, virtual appearance.
Yes.
And so we would like, if possible, to do a quick dry run with him. He has to download software. I know he was having a little trouble with that, and get it up and running so that tomorrow runs smoothly.
Okay.
And I don't know, we had talked to him about trying to make that happen at the lunch break, but don't want to impose on courtroom staff. So we were wondering if we could maybe try at 2 o'clock for us to come back in and get this hooked up and get him on, just so that we can make sure we're ready to go tomorrow.
All right, well, let me check with the boss. Mr. Draper, is that at 2 o'clock or
Well,
2:50?
2:05, whenever, an hour from when.
Yeah, I give a full, whenever we recess, I give a full hour, so.
I appreciate that.
So let's say 2:15, Ms. Draper, would that be acceptable?
Perfect, and thank you, Mr. Draper, I appreciate it.
All right. When folks get a chance, do read over the jury instructions. They are the standard model jury instructions, but we'll have to have a charge conference, and maybe we can do that sometime tomorrow after the evidence for tomorrow has ended.
The only one that I didn't see in there as a preliminary thought was a full Bowden instruction.
So you will have a request for a Bowden instruction.
Yes.
It's instruction I almost never give. It's not actually a favored instruction because it's viewed as perhaps putting the hand on the scale a little bit. There are certain unique circumstances where it's appropriate, usually not, even when a Bowden defense is being vigorously pursued, but I will give it some thought.
Thank you very much, Ron.
But there's no instruction in there for example, involuntary manslaughter, and I haven't seen a basis or any, and my supposition is nobody's looking for that. Is that correct, Commonwealth?
Yeah, I don't see any basis in the evidence.
And Mr.
We will revisit that, but as of right now, that's correct.
All right, that's fine. All right, Mr. Narkunis.
I've just been informed, Judge, by Ms. Morrissey that our witness needs to come in the morning tomorrow, Mr. Crouch.
Okay, you mean to do the logistics?
Yeah.
All right, we will try. Let's see if we can try to do that at it depends on Ms. Draper's availability, but is he available to try to do the dry run at the 8:45 range?
So I think there's been a little mix-up. We would still like to do the dry run at 2:15.
Oh, this is I'm sorry.
Yes. And
Oh, your witness is only available, the live witness is only available to be taken out of order? Is that what you're telling me?
And it's the video witness, Judge. It's the
I'm
video
sorry?
witness. It's Mr. Crouch who would be the video witness, the one, we're going to try and set it up today, but he is only available, my understanding, is tomorrow morning.
Oh, so to do the actual video testimony,
Yes.
you're requesting for him to be taken out of order before the medical examiner.
Yes.
This could be a
Yes,
problem
yeah,
because I think
yes,
we've been
yes.
we've been working around this medical examiner's availability, so that's a problem. I presume. I don't expect. Is this the math witness or somebody?
Yes. Yep.
I don't imagine his testimony is going to be very lengthy.
Correct.
But I also don't know what the situation is with. Is it Dr. Atkinson?
Atkinson, Judge, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've essentially really worked to get him so he can come in and get out of here. So we're going to ask that he go on at 9 o'clock. And I can't imagine he's more than an hour, so I think that's plenty of time to do that.
I think we have to honor that. Normally, I would strong arm the Commonwealth about any witness to take an otherwise unavailable witness out of order. But here, I wanted the doctor here today, and they made their efforts to do that. And when we couldn't guarantee, as it turns out, I think we could have. We just didn't know that. But we couldn't guarantee that he would be on and off the stand today. The compromise was first thing tomorrow morning. And given their schedules, I don't want to mess with that. So let's see what we can work out with Mr. Crouch, is that his name?
Crouch, CR.
Okay. All right. And we'll do the very best we can, but I'm certainly hopeful that he'll still be available and we'll be able to do that.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Court, all rise.
These are from me, Judy.
You told me to write things down.